The Force binds all things across the galaxy, connecting every living being in an invisible web of energy and fate. But what happens when something crashes through the fabric of reality itself? Something born of science, not mysticism. Forged in war, not meditation. Bound by duty, not destiny. The answer would arrive on a nameless moon in the Outer Rim, where Republic and Separatist forces clashed over resources neither would ultimately claim. The Forerunner artifact had been pulsing for 3 days aboard the UNSC Forward unto Dawn's wreckage. Chief had survived worse. The Flood, the Covenant's final assault, the Prophet of Truth's madness. But this was different. The crystalline structure embedded in the hull wasn't Covenant technology. It predated even the Forerunner's empire, a remnant of something older and stranger. When Cortana attempted analysis, the artifact responded. Space folded wrong. Slip space didn't tear, it shattered. The Master Chief had 1 second to register the impossible readings on his HUD before reality inverted around him. The sensation was nothing like normal slip space transition. This was violent, chaotic, a dimension screaming as it was violated by forces that shouldn't coexist. His Mjolnir armor's shields flared red, absorbing energy that had no name in human physics. Cortana's scream echoed in his helmet, digital and agonized, before cutting to static. Then, impact. The Pelican dropship, barely intact, systems dead, plowed through atmosphere it had no right to enter. Chief's consciousness flickered as G-forces that should have liquefied an unaugmented human tested even Spartan II enhancements. The landscape below was alien. Russet canyons, crystalline formations jutting from plateaus, and his tactical mind cataloged even through trauma. Active combat signatures across a 3-kilometer front. The Pelican hit canyon wall first, then ground. Then spun through a formation of metallic bipedal constructs that Chief's training couldn't immediately classify. Not Covenant. Not Flood. The wreckage scattered across what his motion tracker identified as a battlefield, and his audio receptors picked up weapons fire unlike anything in UNSC databases. Coherent energy weapons. Plasma-based but different frequency. And voices, human voices, screaming coordinated military commands. Chief forced himself upright in the wreckage. His shields were recharging, 18%, 31%, 47%. Mjolnir's fusion reactor still operational despite dimensional catastrophe. Cortana's status read offline, rebooting. His MA-5D assault rifle was intact, 3 magazines remaining. His combat knife was secure. The situation was unknown hostile territory, unknown combatants, unknown dimensional coordinates, and 0 support. Standard Tuesday for a Spartan. Through the smoke, he saw them. Soldiers in white armor, humanoid, but wrong proportions. 2 uniform, 2 identical. They moved in textbook formation, suppressing targets with disciplined fire patterns that spoke to professional military training. But their opponents made his tactical assessment freeze. Droids. Thousands of them. Skeletal frames wielding energy rifles, advancing in waves that absorbed casualties without hesitation or morale impact. Chief had fought autonomous weapons before, but never with this sophistication, never in these numbers. And behind the droid lines, larger constructs, 4-legged walker platforms with heavy cannons that turned canyon walls to molten slag. A white armored soldier went down 30 meters from Chief's position, legs severed by sustained energy fire. 2 others dragged him toward cover while maintaining suppressing fire with 1 hand each. Professional. Disciplined. Losing. The Master Chief checked his rifle's ammunition counter, 96 rounds, and made his assessment. Unknown galaxy, unknown war, unknown factions. But he recognized brothers in armor when he saw them. And he'd never left soldiers behind. He stepped from the Pelican's wreckage into hell. The closest droid formation, 12 units advancing in spearhead pattern, tracked him immediately. Their vocabulators emitted sounds his translator couldn't parse. Their weapons swiveled with mechanical precision. Chief moved before they could fire. Spartan II augmented reflexes made him faster than human baseline. The Mjolnir armor made him stronger. For decades of combat against superior enemies made him lethal. He crossed 15 meters, while the droid's targeting computers were still calculating intercept vectors. His armored fist crushed the first droid's chassis. His left hand ripped the weapon from the second's grasp, and his right hand, still holding his combat knife, severed the third's central processing unit. The energy rifle in his hand was crude by UNSC standards, but functional. Chief squeezed the trigger. Coherent energy bolts, blaster fire, some distant part of his mind cataloged, punched through droid armor with satisfying efficiency. The weapons had no recoil, no bullet drop, no thermal buildup he could detect. He adapted his firing pattern in 3 seconds. 9 droids became scrap metal in 15 seconds. The white-armored soldiers stopped firing. Chief could feel their stares even through his golden visor and their helmets' emotionless faceplates. One of them, markings on his armor suggesting rank, raised a hand in tactical hold signal. "Whoever you are," the soldier's voice crackled through external speakers, accent unfamiliar but words clear. "You just saved our Shebs. CT 7567, Captain Rex, 501st Legion. You with the Republic or just really hate battle droids?" Chief's HUD flickered. Cortana's voice returned, weak but functional. "Chief, we're not in Kansas anymore. These communication frequencies, these energy signatures, this isn't our universe. This isn't even close." More droids crested the canyon ridge. Hundreds of them. Behind the Republic line, Chief filed that faction name automatically. A soldier screamed coordinates into a comm device. Artillery fire, calling for support that probably wasn't coming fast enough. Captain Rex was still waiting for an answer. The droids were still advancing. And somewhere in this unknown galaxy, there had to be a way home. But first, soldiers needed extraction. The mission, as always, was clear. "Master Chief," he said simply. "UNC. And I'm with whoever's fighting those things." Rex's helmet tilted slightly, processing. Then he barked into his comm. "All units, we've got reinforcements." Weird reinforcements, but I'll take it. Form up on the big guy in green armor and push for the extraction point. The canyon erupted with renewed blaster fire. Chief discarded his nearly empty MA-5D, claimed a fallen clone's DC-15A blaster rifle, and moved into formation with soldiers who fought like Spartans but bled like normal men. If you want to see more characters enter the Star Wars galaxy, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character you'd want to see in the comments below. May the Force be with you. The battle for survival had just begun. But Master Chief had fought impossible odds before. This galaxy would learn what a Spartan could do. The extraction point was 2 kilometers through contested territory, across open ground swept by separatist artillery and patrolled by droid infantry that treated casualties as acceptable parameters. Chief moved with Rex's unit, 23 clone troopers, call sign Torn Company, survivors of what should have been a simple reconnaissance mission, and learned this galaxy's rules through blood and blaster fire. Energy shields worked differently here. His Mjolnir's shields absorbed blaster bolts efficiently, the coherent energy dissipating across the protective barrier before it could touch armor plating. But the clones had no shields. Every bolt that found its mark burned through plastoid armor and flesh with brutal efficiency. Chief watched 3 troopers fall in the first 100 meters, their brothers dragging them to cover without breaking formation, without hesitation, without the emotional processing that should accompany watching identical faces die. "Cortana," Chief subvocalized, analyzed their armor. "Why no energy shielding?" The AI's avatar flickered in his HUD, still fragmentary from the dimensional crossing. Their technology base is different. Advanced in some areas, surprisingly limited in others. These clones and Chief, they're clones, genetically identical soldiers grown for war. Their armor prioritizes mobility and environmental protection over energy defense. The Republic doesn't have miniaturized shield generators. Or if they do, they're not issuing them to infantry. Chief processed that while putting down a droid sniper nest with controlled bursts from his acquired blaster. The weapon's unlimited ammunition capacity was tactically valuable, though he missed the satisfying weight and recoil of UNSC ballistic weapons. Strategic assessment, We're in the middle of a galactic war. Republic versus Separatists. That's what these clones keep referencing. I'm picking up encrypted comm chatter across hundreds of frequencies. Fleet movements, planetary sieges, battle coordinations, spanning systems I don't have stellar cartography for. This isn't a localized conflict, Chief. This is total war on a scale that makes the Human Covenant War look small. A mortar round, or whatever this galaxy's equivalent was, struck 15 meters to Chief's left. His shields flared orange, dropping to 67%. The three clones beside him weren't as lucky. One died instantly, armor and body vaporized by the direct impact. The other two were thrown clear, one struggling to rise on a broken leg, the other motionless. Chief moved without thinking. He crossed the kill zone in 4 seconds, scooped the injured clone over his shoulder, the man's surprised grunt audible even through helmet speakers, and dragged the unconscious one by his armor, webbing back to cover. Return fire from the ridge suggested the droids were advancing to capitalize on the bombardment. "You're insane," the injured clone, his armor marked CT-4892, shouted over the weapon's fire. "Nobody crosses open ground like that. You should be dead." "Should be," Chief agreed, setting him down behind a rockcrete barrier. He checked the unconscious clone's vitals through armor diagnostics that weren't his own but followed logical enough patterns. Pulse weak, breathing shallow, but stable. "He'll make it if we get him to medical." Rex appeared beside them, his helmet's rangefinder extended, mapping tactical overlays Chief couldn't see. "We've got 600 meters to the extraction LZ. LAT gunship inbound, ETA 4 minutes. Problem is, that's 4 minutes we might not have." He gestured toward the ridge, where Chief's enhanced vision could pick out droid formations massing for assault. "They're bringing up heavy armor. If those AATs hit us in open ground..." Chief didn't need translation for AAT, armored assault tank, obviously. He could see them now through the heat shimmer, repulsor-lifted vehicles mounting heavy forward cannons. 5 of them, advancing in wedge formation with droid infantry screen. Standard combined arms tactics, competent and overwhelming. His tactical assessment ran in milliseconds. 20 clone troopers operational, 3 wounded, 2 kilometers to extraction through open terrain against superior numbers with heavy armor support. Without orbital support, without air superiority, without anything except small arms and determination. He'd faced worse odds on reach. Barely. "Cortana, what do we have for anti-armor?" "Clones carry thermal detonators, basically shaped plasma charges. Problem is, you'd need to get close enough to place them, and those tanks will shred anyone who tries." She paused. "Unless someone has shields that can take a few hits and reflexes faster than droid targeting computers." Chief glanced at Rex. The clone captain was already shaking his head. "If you're thinking what I think you're thinking, that's suicide. Those AATs will focus fire the moment you break cover. Then I'll need a distraction." Chief checked his shield status, fully recharged, and appropriated 4 thermal detonators from fallen clones. The spherical charges were heavier than UNSC grenades, but followed similar principles. Plasma-based rather than explosive, hot enough to melt through tank armor if placed correctly. Your men concentrate fire on the infantry screen. When the tanks adjust to target me, that's your window to move to extraction. Rex was silent for 3 seconds. Behind his helmet, Chief couldn't read expression, but body language spoke clearly enough. The captain was calculating, weighing, making the same cold mathematics every combat leader learned. 1 unknown super soldier versus 23 clone troopers. The equation balanced itself. "Your Republic?" Rex asked finally. "Because if you're Separatist playing some kind of long game, this is a really weird strategy." "I'm UNSC," Chief said. "But I don't leave soldiers behind. That's universal." Something in Rex's posture changed. Recognition, maybe. Respect, certainly. "Torn Company," he barked into company-wide comm. "On my mark, concentrated fire on droid screen sectors 1 through 5. Suppressing fire, maximum volume. Our new friend is about to do something stupid." "Bravery or stupidity is often a matter of perspective, Captain," Cortana observed in Chief's helmet. Usually both, Chief replied. He waited for Rex's mark, then moved. Spartan 2 augmentation pushed human limits into superhuman territory. Chief covered the first 100 meters before droid targeting computers registered his trajectory. His shields took the first volley, dozens of blaster bolts converging on his position, and held at 43%. The second volley dropped him to 18%. He didn't slow. The lead AAT's main cannon swiveled to track him, the targeting computer adapting faster than biological gunners could manage. Chief juked left as the cannon fired, superheated plasma scoring the ground where he'd been. His shields dropped to 3%, began recharging. Not fast enough. He closed to 20 meters. The AAT's anti-personnel blasters opened up, tracking his movement with mechanical precision. His shields failed. Blaster bolts scorched his Mjolnir's armor plating, temperature warnings flashing across his HUD. One bolt caught his shoulder joint, another his hip. The impacts would have killed an unarmored human. The armor held, but Chief felt the heat through the bodysuit. 10 meters. The tank's main cannon was cycling for another shot. Chief armed 2 thermal detonators, magnetic clasps engaging, and dove under the AAT's forward chassis. The vehicle's repulsor field tried to compensate, lifting to crush him, but he was already rolling clear. He slapped both detonators against the tank's main reactor housing. Cortana had helpfully highlighted the structural weak point and sprinted for the next target. The AAT exploded behind him. Plasma bloom bright enough to white out his visor's autocompensation. Shrapnel peppered his back armor. His shields were still recharging. 32%, 47%, 61%. 4 tanks remaining. 2 thermal detonators left. Behind him, Rex's voice crackled over comm frequencies Cortana had learned to interpret. All units move. Go, go, go. Chief could hear the clones advancing under his covering chaos. He armed the 3rd detonator, rushed the 2nd tank, and learned that droid gunners adapted quickly. The tank reversed, its commander recognizing the threat pattern. Droid infantry swarmed to intercept. Chief put down 6 with his acquired blaster, but the tank was retreating, main cannon tracking. He threw the detonator. Spartan reflexes, enhanced hand-eye coordination, and 40 years of combat experience put the charge exactly where it needed to be. The detonator sailed through the air, struck the tank's cannon mount, and the magnetic clasp engaged. The tank fired its cannon. The detonator detonated. The cannon exploded, plasma backwash, consuming the tank's upper structure and everyone nearby. Chief was already moving to the 3rd target when Cortana interrupted. Chief, the gunship is landing. Rex is calling you back. The clones are loading wounded. He glanced toward the extraction point. The LAT gunship, ugly, functional, bristling with weapons, hovered above the LZ while clone troopers scrambled aboard. Rex stood at the open bay door, helmet turned toward Chief's position, one hand extended in unmistakable command. Get to the ship. 3 AATs remained. They were spreading out, adapting tactics, repositioning to cut off the gunship. If Chief disengaged now, they'd have clear shots at the extraction. If he stayed, the gunship would leave without him. The equation balanced itself again. Chief turned toward the remaining tanks and armed his final thermal detonator. Chief, Cortana said quietly, you're making a habit of this. Someone has to. He charged. The gunship didn't leave without him. Chief learned later that Rex had ordered the pilot to hold position despite separatist anti-air batteries acquiring lock, despite the tactical insanity of hovering in a combat zone, despite every regulation in the Republic military manual, screaming to extract and abort. The clone captain had watched Chief destroy the 3rd AAT with his final thermal detonator, watched him dodge concentrated fire from the remaining 2 tanks, watched him sprint 300 meters across open ground while blaster bolts turned the earth to glass around him. When Chief reached the gunship, Rex grabbed his arm and hauled him aboard personally. You're either the bravest soldier I've ever seen or the craziest, the captain said over the roar of repulsor engines. Haven't decided which. Usually both, Chief replied, echoing Cortana's earlier assessment. The LAT gunship, low-altitude assault transport, Cortana catalogued, banked hard as separatist flak filled the sky. Chief watched through the open bay doors as the moon's surface fell away, the battlefield shrinking to tactical insignificance. The wounded clones were arranged in the troop bay with practiced efficiency, medics working with limited supplies and unlimited determination. No one had died during extraction. By the standards Chief was accustomed to, that qualified as victory. The flight to the Republic Star Destroyer took 20 minutes through contested airspace. Chief used the time to take stock. His Mjolnir armor had sustained surface damage, carbon scoring, several ablated plates, one hip actuator running at 87% efficiency, but nothing critical. His shields were fully recharged. Cortana was operational, already infiltrating the gunship's communications network with cautious precision. "Chief," she said privately, "I'm reading their language now. Basic, they call it. Galactic Standard. But there's something else in their systems. Encrypted subspace channels, military-grade security. I shouldn't be able to crack this fast except..." She paused, her avatar flickering with concentration. "Except their encryption is sophisticated, but not AI sophisticated. They don't have smart AI. Nothing like me. Their droids are sophisticated 6 constructs, but there's no true artificial consciousness in their networks." "Tactical advantage," Chief observed. "Massive tactical advantage. But Chief, be careful. If they realize what I am, what I can do, we don't know how this galaxy treats artificial intelligence." The Star Destroyer loomed ahead, a wedge-shaped vessel 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons batteries and hangar bays. Chief had seen Covenant capital ships, Forerunner constructs, even the Ark's impossible architecture. This ship was different, brutal, industrial. Designed by beings who understood war as engineering problem rather than religious crusade. He respected that. The LAT settled in the main hangar bay, and Chief stepped into organized chaos. Clone troopers swarmed everywhere, identical faces behind identical helmets, moving with synchronized precision that spoke to shared training and shared genetics. Starfighters, aggressive-looking craft with S-foils and heavy cannons, lined the hangar walls. Cargo loaders, medical transports, and dozens of other military vehicles created controlled pandemonium. And waiting at the hangar entrance, robes billowing despite the lack of wind, stood 2 figures who made Chief's threat assessment spike immediately. They carried weapons like swords but wrong, beams of pure energy, one blue and one green, contained in impossible cylinders. They moved with casual confidence that suggested complete awareness of their surroundings. And most importantly, every clone trooper in the hangar gave them unconscious deference, the kind of respect that came from either fear or reverence. Captain Rex, the younger one, said, deactivating his energy sword with a snap hiss that Chief filed for future reference. "Your report mentioned unusual assistance?" Rex gestured toward Chief. "General Skywalker, General Kenobi, this is, honestly, sir, I don't know what this is." He calls himself Master Chief, says he's UNSC, whatever that means, and he took down 3 AATs by himself while providing cover for our extraction. The older one, Kenobi, graying temples and measured expression, studied Chief with eyes that seemed to see more than they should. "Fascinating. I don't sense him in the Force at all. It's as if he's absent. Not dead, not hidden, simply not there." "The Force?" Chief asked. Skywalker stepped closer, curiosity evident despite his attempt at military formality. "You don't know about the Force? What planet are you from? And that armor. I've never seen technology like that. Those shields, the way you moved. Are you some kind of experimental Republic commando?" Cortana's voice was urgent in Chief's helmet. "Chief, they're talking about some kind of mystical energy field. I'm picking up readings around them, bioelectric patterns that don't match anything in UNSC databases. And their heart rates barely elevated despite seeing you in combat. Either they're exceptionally calm, or they're used to impossible things." Chief made his decision. Lying to potential allies was tactically unsound when he had zero intelligence on local politics, factions, or strategic situation. And these generals clearly held authority over the clone troopers who'd fought beside him. "I'm not from this galaxy," he said simply. "Dimensional accident during slip space transit. I don't know how I got here, and I don't know how to get back." Silence. Even in the hangar's chaos, the space around them seemed to contract. Skywalker's hand moved unconsciously to his energy sword's hilt. Kenobi's expression never changed, but Chief noted the minute-weight shift that suggested combat readiness. That's... Skywalker started. That's impossible. Dimensional travel? That's not impossible, Kenobi interrupted quietly. Merely beyond our understanding. The Force is vast, Anakin. It connects all living things across the galaxy. But who's to say it doesn't extend beyond? And if the Force can reach across space, perhaps it can reach across other barriers. I don't know anything about the Force, Chief said. But the artifact that brought me here was old. Older than my civilization. Older than the war I was fighting. And when it activated, reality broke. Kenobi exchanged a glance with Skywalker, some unspoken communication passing between them. We'll need to take this to the Council. Master Yoda will want to examine. No examination, Chief interrupted. I'm a soldier, not a specimen. I helped your men because it was the right thing to do. I'll continue helping if our objectives align. But I'm not anyone's experiment. Skywalker's hand was definitely on his weapon now. You're on a Republic Star Destroyer, surrounded by clone troopers, and you're giving Jedi generals ultimatums? That's either brave or stupid, Chief finished. I've been told, but I've also been fighting wars since I was 14 years old. I know when I'm being threatened, and I know when I'm being offered partnership. Which is it? The tension stretched. Chief's hand didn't move toward his weapon, the blaster rifle maglocked to his thigh, but his combat readiness spiked to maximum. If these Jedi attacked, he'd have perhaps 2 seconds before their energy swords carved through armor that had survived Covenant plasma. His shields might buy him another second. Not enough time to win, but enough to make it costly. Kenobi smiled suddenly, genuinely amused. You'll like him, Anakin. He reminds me of you, all bravado and tactical improvisation. To Chief, we're not threatening you, soldier. We're merely cautious. This galaxy is at war, and trust is a scarce commodity. But Rex vouches for you, and Rex's judgment is sound. He saved the entire company, General, Rex added. Without him, we'd all be scrap for the Separatist salvage crews. Skywalker deactivated his aggressive posture, hand leaving his weapon. All right, Master Chief of the UNSC. Welcome aboard the Resolute. Let's get you to medical, get that armor checked, and figure out what to do with an interdimensional super soldier who just fell into the Clone Wars. Clone Wars? Chief asked. That's what we're calling it, Skywalker said, gesturing for Chief to follow as they walked through the hangar. The Galactic Republic versus the Confederacy of Independent Systems, the Separatists. They've got droid armies, we've got clone soldiers. It's been going on for 2 years now, and it's not getting better. Chief cataloged the information. Clone soldiers. Genetically identical. Grown for war. The ethical implications made his stomach turn. He'd been conscripted as a child, augmented, trained to be a weapon, but at least he'd been born naturally. These clones were manufactured, purpose-built for combat, disposable by design. The clones, he said carefully. Their property? Or citizens? Skywalker's stride faltered slightly. Kenobi's expression became carefully neutral. Rex, walking behind them, said nothing, but Chief felt the weight of that silence. They're soldiers of the Republic, Kenobi said diplomatically. Brave, loyal, and essential to our defense against Separatist aggression. That's not an answer, Chief observed. No, Kenobi admitted. It's not. They reached a turbolift, anti-gravity elevator system, Cortana noted, and ascended into the Star Destroyer's superstructure. Chief watched the clone troopers through the transparent sections. Thousands of identical faces, identical armor, identical purpose. Fighting a war orchestrated by beings who viewed them as resources rather than people. He'd spent his entire life being a weapon, but at least he'd chosen to keep fighting. These clones never had that choice. The Separatists, Chief said as the turbolift climbed. Why are they fighting? Corporate interests, political corruption, systems that felt abandoned by the Republic's bureaucracy, Skywalker explained. They have legitimate grievances, but they're using droid armies to terrorize innocents. We're trying to restore peace. And the Jedi? We're peacekeepers, Kenobi said. Guardians of the Republic for 1,000 generations. The Force guides us to protect the innocent and maintain balance. Chief processed that. Peacekeepers who led armies. Guardians who fought wars. Balance maintained through violence. It sounded familiar. He'd been ONI's weapon, UNSC's shield, humanity's protector. He'd made peace by destroying humanity's enemies. Maybe this galaxy wasn't so different after all. The turbolift stopped. The doors opened onto a medical bay, where clone medics were already preparing examination equipment. Chief stepped out, followed by the 2 Jedi, and prepared for the next phase, understanding this war well enough to find a way home. Or at least survive long enough to make the attempt. The medical bay's examination lasted 3 hours and yielded more questions than answers. Clone medics, identical to the soldiers but marked with Red Cross insignia, carefully documented everything Cortana allowed them to document, which wasn't much. The AI had locked down Mjolnir's internal systems the moment scanning equipment approached, presenting only surface-level data while hiding fusion reactor specifications, shield generator configurations, and anything else that could be reverse-engineered or weaponized. Your armor's power source is extraordinary, one medic said, studying readouts that Cortana was carefully sanitizing in real time. Energy output readings are off our charts, but the system architecture is completely alien. No Kyber crystal integration, no ion cells, nothing we recognize. And these shields. He gestured helplessly. Our starfighters carry deflector shields, capital ships have ray shielding, but personal energy barriers? That's theoretical technology. Chief said nothing. Across the medical bay, Skywalker and Kenobi observed from a respectful distance, occasionally conferring in low voices. Rex stood by the door, helmet off for the first time, revealing a face identical to every other clone Chief had seen except for a distinctive blonde hair and the weight of experience in his eyes. Cortana. Chief subvocalized, "What's your assessment of the Jedi?" The AI's avatar appeared in his HUD, arms crossed. Dangerous. Not hostile, but definitely dangerous. I've been monitoring their biometrics. Their brain activity spikes in patterns that don't match normal human cognition. When Kenobi was sensing you earlier, his neural patterns suggested he was actually perceiving something we can't detect. This force they keep mentioning isn't mysticism, Chief. It's real, measurable, and completely outside our scientific understanding. Magic. Clarke's third law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Except this isn't technology. It's biological, environmental, maybe even dimensional. I need more data. The medical examination concluded with the lead medic shaking his head in professional bafflement. You're healthy. More than healthy. Your cellular structure shows augmentation beyond anything we've seen, even in ARC troopers. But your genetic template is natural, not Kaminoan cloning. You're human, but engineered. Fascinating and slightly disturbing. Spartan 2 Augmentation Program, Chief said, offering minimal explanation. Bioengineering and surgical enhancement for combat effectiveness. You were a volunteer? Rex asked from the doorway, his tone suggesting he already knew the answer. I was 6 years old when they conscripted me. The silence that followed was heavy. Rex's jaw tightened. The medics exchanged uncomfortable glances. Even Skywalker, across the room, shifted his weight. Only Kenobi's expression remained neutral, though his eyes reflected something that might have been sympathy or recognition. The Jedi identify Force-sensitive children young, Kenobi said quietly. We train them from childhood, raising them in the temple, teaching them to use their gifts for the galaxy's benefit. Some see it as noble. Others see it as indoctrination. He paused. You understand that tension, I think. Chief did. He'd spent decades reconciling what had been done to him with what he'd accomplished because of it. The Spartan 2 program had been morally unconscionable, kidnapping children, replacing them with flash clones that died within years, subjecting them to augmentations that killed half the candidates. But those survivors had saved humanity from extinction. The equation never balanced, but the reality remained. I understand doing what's necessary, Chief said. I also understand the cost. Skywalker approached, his earlier suspicion replaced with something more complex. Curiosity mixed with respect. Rex told me what you did out there. 3 armored assault tanks, minimal support, standard blaster rifle. That shouldn't have been possible. It was necessary. That seems to be your philosophy. Skywalker smiled slightly. I can respect that. The Jedi Code teaches us to avoid attachment, to maintain emotional distance, to trust in the Force. But sometimes you have to trust in yourself and move before the meditation's finished. Anakin, Kenobi said with patient exasperation, that's not exactly what the Council teaches. But it's what works, Skywalker countered. He turned back to Chief. Look, we need to report this to the Jedi Council on Coruscant. Interdimensional travelers, unknown technology, a warrior who can fight like a Jedi without using the Force. Master Yoda will want answers. I don't have answers, Chief said. I have questions. Starting with, what's the strategic situation? You called this the Clone Wars. Give me the overview. Rex stepped forward, appreciating the military directness. 2 years ago, the Separatists revealed they'd built the largest droid army in galactic history. Trillions of battle droids, backed by corporate fleets, and led by former Jedi Count Dooku. The Republic had no standing army, so we, he gestured to himself, to the identical medics, were commissioned. 3 million clone troopers, grown accelerated on Kamino, trained from genetic memory of the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. 3 million soldiers against trillions of droids. Chief's tactical mind recoiled. That's not a war. That's a slaughter. Which is why we use quality over quantity, Rex said with professional pride. Every clone is trained to kill 1,000 droids before we fall. We're worth it. The casual acceptance of disposability in Rex's voice made Chief's fists clench unconsciously. These clones didn't see themselves as slaves or victims. They saw themselves as soldiers, proud of their purpose, accepting their role because they'd never been given alternatives. It was Spartan indoctrination taken to galactic scale. The Jedi lead the clone armies, Kenobi explained, noting Chief's reaction. We didn't want this role, but the Republic needed us. 10,000 Jedi Knights and Masters, serving as generals across 1,000 battlefronts. We're stretched thin, losing ground in the Outer Rim, and the war shows no signs of ending. Cortana's voice in Chief's helmet carried concern. Chief, I've been analyzing their communication networks. This war's coordination is extraordinary. Real-time fleet movements across the entire galaxy, synchronized battle plans, unified command structure. Someone's orchestrating this with precision that makes UNSC High Command look disorganized. And I'm detecting encrypted channels that bypass normal Republic communications entirely. Chief filed that information. Who's winning? No one, Skywalker said grimly. That's the problem. Every victory costs resources we can't replace. Every defeat emboldens separatist systems to join the Confederacy. The Senate's divided, corruption's rampant, and Count Dooku keeps staying one step ahead of us. He paused. Some days I think we're fighting to lose slowly. Then why fight at all? The question hung in the medical bay like a grenade. Kenobi's expression became carefully composed. Skywalker's jaw tightened. Rex looked like Chief had suggested desertion. Because the alternative is separatist tyranny, Kenobi said finally. Whatever the Republic's flaws, and they are legion, the Confederacy is worse. Corporate greed elevated to government policy. Droid armies enforcing economic exploitation, and behind all, Count Dooku and his dark side machinations. Dark side. The Force has 2 aspects, Kenobi explained, settling into lecture mode with the ease of long practice. The light side emphasizes selflessness, compassion, harmony with life. The dark side feeds on fear, anger, hatred. It offers power, but corrupts absolutely. The Jedi serve the light. Dooku has fallen to darkness. Chief absorbed this. Magic divided into moral categories, mystical energy with ethical alignment, power determined by philosophical stance. It sounded like propaganda, but Kenobi's sincerity suggested genuine belief. "And if I wanted to meet this Count Dooku?" Chief asked. Hear his perspective? The temperature in the medical bay dropped. Skywalker's hand moved to his lightsaber. Rex tensed. Even the medics backed away, slightly. "That would be unwise," Kenobi said with forced calm. "Dooku was once a Jedi Master, one of our greatest. His fall was tragedy, not opportunity. He would see you as a weapon to be turned or destroyed." "Everyone sees me as a weapon," Chief observed. "At least he'd be honest about it." "Chief," Cortana warned privately, "you're pushing them. These Jedi are allies, and we're alone in an unknown galaxy. Maybe dial back the philosophical challenges." She was right. Chief moderated his tone. "I'm not suggesting alliance with your enemies. I'm suggesting I understand tactics require intelligence on all factions. The UNSC taught me, know your enemy better than yourself." Skywalker relaxed slightly. "Smart. Dangerous, but smart. Fine. You want intelligence on Dooku? He's brilliant, charismatic, and genuinely believes the Republic is corrupt beyond saving. He's also murdered Jedi in slave systems and serves a Sith master we haven't identified." "Sith. Ancient enemies of the Jedi," Kenobi said. "Force users who embraced the dark side, who believed power came through domination. They were destroyed 1,000 years ago. Or so we thought. But Dooku proved they survived, and somewhere out there, his master plots the Republic's destruction." Chief processed this. Secret masters, ancient conspiracies, wars within wars. It reminded him of ONI's shadow operations, the conspiracies that had nearly destroyed humanity from within even while the Covenant attacked from without. Every war had visible fronts and invisible players. "I need to understand this war before I can help you win it," Chief said. "Or before I can find a way home." "Then you'll come to Coruscant," Kenobi decided. "Meet the Jedi Council, share what you can about your universe, and perhaps we can help identify how you cross dimensions. The Jedi archives contain knowledge spanning millennia. If interdimensional travel is possible, we may have records. And if your council decides I'm too dangerous to let leave," Kenobi smiled without humor, "then you'll discover why the Jedi have maintained peace for 1,000 generations. But I don't think it will come to that. You saved Rex's men. You fought beside Republic soldiers without hesitation. Those are the actions of an ally, not a threat." Chief glanced at Rex, who nodded fractional confirmation. The clone captain had vouched for him once. That trust was strategically valuable. "All right," Chief said. "Coruscant. But I keep my armor and my AI." "Cortana?" Skywalker asked. "That's what you called earlier. An AI? Artificial intelligence." "Correct. She's integrated into my armor systems." "Fascinating. We use droid intelligence, but true AI." Skywalker's eyes lit with mechanic's enthusiasm. "I'd love to learn how she works." "No," Chief said flatly. "Cortana's classified technology and my partner, not a research subject." "Protective," Kenobi observed. "You care for this AI. She's saved my life more times than I can count. She's earned that." Something shifted in Kenobi's expression, approval, perhaps. "Loyalty to those who fight beside us. That's very Jedi, Master Chief. Or very human. Sometimes they're the same thing." The Resolute's hyperspace engines engaged with a thrumming vibration Chief felt through deck plating. Skywalker checked a wrist-mounted communicator. "We're jumping to Coruscant. 6 hours in hyperspace. Then you'll see the Republic's heart. Fair warning. It's impressive and depressing in equal measure." Chief watched through the medical bay's viewport as stars elongated impossibly, reality bending around the ship as it entered whatever hyperspace meant in this galaxy. Faster than light travel, without slip space ruptures, without Shaw Fujikawa generators, achieved through principles Cortana was already analyzing frantically. 6 hours to Coruscant. 6 hours to meet the Jedi Council and either gain allies or make powerful enemies. 6 hours to decide if this galaxy's war was worth fighting, or if his only mission was finding home. But as Chief watched Rex organize the clone wounded with practiced efficiency, as he cataloged the casual disposability embedded in this army's design, he knew the equation had already shifted. He was a soldier. Soldiers protected those who couldn't protect themselves. Even in a galaxy far from home, Coruscant burned with civilization. Chief watched through the Resolute's viewport as the planet resolved from hyperspace. An entire world covered in city, layers upon layers of construction reaching from surface to stratosphere. Traffic streams flowing between towers like blood through arteries. Trillions of beings, thousands of species, all concentrated on one planet that served as the Republic's political heart. It was beautiful and obscene in equal measure, a monument to accomplishment that had paved over every trace of natural world. 5,000 levels of construction, Kenobi said, standing beside Chief at the viewport. The wealthy live in the upper levels, bathed in natural sunlight. The poor exist in the lower levels, where daylight never reaches and civilization's failures accumulate. The Republic's greatest achievement and greatest shame, all in one place. Strategic nightmare, Chief observed. One good orbital bombardment would kill trillions. Why concentrate everything here? Because Coruscant has been the Republic's capital for 25,000 years. Because tradition matters. And because moving the government would be admitting vulnerability. Kenobi smiled without humor. You see the tactical weakness immediately. The Jedi Council has raised similar concerns for decades. The Senate ignores us. The Resolute descended through Coruscant's traffic control zones, massive star destroyer cutting through civilian traffic that parted like water around stone. Chief watched smaller vessels scatter, transports, private craft, emergency vehicles, all deferring to military authority. The efficiency spoke to either well-established protocols or fear. Probably both. Cortana's voice carried tension. Chief, I'm drowning in data. This planet's communication infrastructure is massive, quadrillions of active connections, holonet traffic that makes Earth's internet look like 2 tin cans and string. I'm trying to map it without triggering security systems, but this is beyond anything UNSC designed. Whoever built this network understood information architecture on civilizational scale. Can you access their archives? Working on it. Their security is sophisticated, but not AI sophisticated. I can crack it given time. Problem is I'm finding encrypted layers beneath the public networks, military channels, intelligence operations, and something else. Something hidden using security protocols that predate the Clone Wars by centuries. Chief filed that information as the Resolute settled into a military docking facility. Through the viewport, the Jedi Temple dominated the skyline. 5 massive spires reaching toward the sky, ancient architecture that predated the modern city, growing around it like a growth around scar tissue. The building radiated purpose, permanence, and power. The temple has stood for 4,000 years, Kenobi said, noting Chief's focus. Through wars, political upheavals, and galactic transformations, the Jedi endure. That's both our strength and our weakness. We're so ancient we sometimes forget the galaxy changes, while we remain constant. Skywalker joined them, freshly clean from the battlefield dirt, though his mechanical right hand. Chief had cataloged that detail during medical examination, carried fresh carbon scoring. The councils assembled. Master Yoda, Master Windu, the senior members. They'll want to examine you, question you, probably meditate on you. Fair warning. Yoda's 800 years old and can read most people like holobooks. If you're hiding something. I'm hiding everything, Chief interrupted. Every soldier hides operational capabilities until trust is established. Your council will understand that. Will they? Skywalker's expression suggested doubt. The landing ramp descended, and Chief stepped onto Coruscant for the first time. The air tasted of recycled atmosphere and industrial processes, billions of beings breathing the same carefully managed oxygen. Gravity felt standard, 0.98 Earth normal, his armor's sensors reported. But the sensory assault was overwhelming. Sound from 1,000 different directions. Alien languages Cortana was cataloging frantically. Species Chief's training had never prepared him for walking past with barely a glance at the armored human. Stay close, Rex advised, falling into escort formation with 4 clone troopers from the 501st. Temple District safe. But this is Coruscant. You get lost here, you might not be found for years. They move through military checkpoints, clone security examining credentials, nodding at Skywalker and Kenobi with professional deference, and into the temple proper. The architecture shifted from modern efficiency to ancient grandeur, stone and metal blending in ways that suggested construction techniques lost to time. Force-sensitive children, identifiable by simple robes and youth, practiced with training lightsabers under watchful instructors. They stopped to stare at Chief, curiosity and wariness mixing on alien and human faces alike. They sense you're different, Kenobi explained. Or rather, they sense nothing from you. To Force sensitives, you're an absence, like a hole in reality where a person should be. Comforting, Cortana muttered in Chief's helmet. The council chamber occupied the temple's highest tower, circular room with windows overlooking Coruscant's endless sprawl. 12 seats arranged in a circle, and in those seats, beings who commanded the Jedi Order. Chief cataloged them automatically. Species ranging from near-human to truly alien, ages spanning decades to centuries, expressions ranging from curious to deeply suspicious. And in the central seat, small and ancient, a being with green skin, pointed ears, and eyes that had witnessed 8 centuries of galactic history. Master Yoda. Enter you may, the ancient Jedi said, voice rough with age but carrying absolute authority. Master Chief of the UNSC, arrived you have from beyond our galaxy. Interesting this is. Disturbing it may become. Chief stepped into the circle, hyper-aware of tactical positioning. 12 potential threats surrounding him, multiple exits, unknown capabilities. His hand didn't move toward weapons, but his combat readiness peaked. These weren't enemies yet, but they could be if this conversation went wrong. Master Yoda, Kenobi said with deep respect. As reported, this soldier appeared during our engagement in the Outer Rim. He demonstrated extraordinary combat capability and chose to assist Republic forces without prompting. His presence in the Force is absent. See him, I cannot, Yoda confirmed. Sense him through the Force, impossible it is. Yet here he stands, real and solid. A mystery this presents. Or a threat. A dark-skinned human with severe expression leaned forward. I am Mace Windu, Master of the Council. Obi-Wan's report claims you're from another dimension. That you traveled here through accident involving ancient technology. Do you have proof of these claims? My armor's technology doesn't match anything in your databases, Chief said. My AI operates on principles you don't have. My genetic augmentation follows protocols you've never seen. That's not proof, but it's evidence. Evidence of advanced technology, Windu countered. Not evidence of dimensional origin. The Separatists have developed impressive weapons. How do we know you're not a Confederacy infiltrator? A new weapon designed to penetrate our defenses. If I were an infiltrator, would I have saved an entire clone company? Chief gestured toward Rex, standing at attention by the door. Would I have exposed myself to Jedi examination? Would I be standing here instead of assassinating council members? Silence. Several council members shifted uncomfortably. Yoda's ears twitched with what might have been amusement. Aggressive negotiation tactics you employ, Yoda observed. Remind me of someone you do. His gaze slid to Skywalker, who suddenly found the floor fascinating. But right you are. If assassin you were, bodies we would be counting, not questions asking. Your council believes in this Force, Chief said. Deciding directness served better than diplomacy. You sense things others can't, perceive patterns through mystical awareness. So tell me, am I lying? Windu's expression became carefully neutral. Yoda closed his eyes for long moments. Other council members seemed to turn inward, consulting whatever inner sense the Force provided. Truth you speak, Yoda said finally. Or truth as you know it, at least. Lost you are. Home you cannot find. Help us, you might. But trust you we do not. Not yet. Fair, Chief acknowledged. I don't trust you either. But Rex's men are alive because I fought beside them. That's more than philosophy, that's action. Judge me by what I do, not what I claim. A Togruta female, orange skin, white markings, predatory grace, spoke for the first time. I am Shakti. You say you were augmented as a child, trained as a weapon. Yet you speak of choice, of duty chosen rather than imposed. How do you reconcile being a slave to your conditioning while claiming free will? Chief considered his answer carefully. This wasn't military interrogation. This was philosophical examination, probing for weakness or contradiction. I was taken at 6 years old, trained to be a soldier before I understood what that meant. Augmented so severely half my fellow candidates died. Everything that makes me effective was imposed without consent. He paused. But every day since, I've chosen to keep fighting, to protect humanity, to stand between people and whatever wants to destroy them. My creation was slavery. My service is choice. And if ordered to commit atrocities, when depressed, would you follow those orders? No, even if it meant execution for disobedience. I've disobeyed orders before when they were wrong. I'm still alive. Execution requires someone capable of executing me. Several council members bristled at the implied threat. Yoda merely chuckled, a sound like stones grinding. Confident he is. Dangerous confidence, perhaps. But honest, at least. Cortana's voice carried urgency. Chief, I've cracked their archive access. And Chief, something's wrong. I'm finding operational records that don't match public data. Clone army deployments don't line up with official reports. Money flows that bypass Senate oversight. Someone's running shadow operations through the Jedi Order, and the Council might not even know. Chief's expression didn't change, but his tactical assessment shifted. Conspiracy within conspiracy, secret wars beneath public conflicts. He needed more information before deciding whether to reveal Cortana's discovery. I'll make you an offer, Chief said to the Council. I'll fight beside your soldiers, help protect clone troopers and civilians, share tactical knowledge when it's strategically sound. In exchange, you help me research dimensional travel, how I got here, how I might get home. And you treat your clones as soldiers, not equipment. Winda's eyes narrowed. The clones are a public property, created and commissioned for. They're people, Chief interrupted. Manufactured people, trained people, but people. I've watched them bleed. They feel pain, fear, loyalty. They're not droids with flesh. If you can't see that, then maybe the Separatists have legitimate grievances about Republic morality. The council chamber erupted. 3 members stood, voices raised in protest. Winda's hand moved toward his lightsaber. Even Kenobi looked shocked at Chief's audacity. Only Yoda remained calm, ancient eyes studying Chief with unreadable intensity. Silence, Yoda commanded, and the chamber obeyed instantly. Truth spoken harshly, still truth it remains. Troubled, I have been, by clone treatment. Necessary, we claimed. Expedient, we justified. But right. He shook his head slowly. Examine this, we have not. Afraid of answers, perhaps we are. Master Yoda, Windu protested. We're in the middle of a war. We can't afford philosophical debates about. Afford not to, can we? Yoda interrupted. Win the war, but lose ourselves. What victory is that? This stranger sees what blindness obscures. Uncomfortable, his sight is. Valuable, it may prove. Shakti spoke carefully. If we grant his request, treating clones as citizens rather than assets, the political implications are staggering. The Senate commissioned them as military resources. Granting them personhood would require legal transformations, budgetary adjustments, philosophical reckonings the Republic isn't prepared for. Then the Republic needs to prepare, Chief said. Because I won't fight beside an army of slaves while pretending they're volunteers. I've been a weapon. I know what that costs. If your war requires disposable soldiers, find someone else to help you win it. The ultimatum hung in the council chamber like a thermal detonator. Chief watched 12 Jedi Masters process his terms, calculate political ramifications, weigh moral principles against practical necessities. He'd back them into a corner deliberately. Either acknowledge the clone's personhood or reveal the Republic's moral bankruptcy. Yoda's ears lifted slightly. Deal we have. Help you research dimensional travel. We shall. Fight beside clones. You will. and examine our treatment of them. We must. Satisfied you are? It's a start. Dangerous precedent. This sets, Windu warned. One soldier dictating terms to the Jedi Council. One soldier with a conscience, Kenobi corrected quietly. Perhaps we need more of those. Skywalker was grinning openly now, enjoying the Council's discomfort. Rex by the door stood straighter. Chief couldn't see his expression through the helmet, but body language suggested something between shock and gratitude. Assign him to your command, Anakin, Yoda decided. Work together, you will. Learn from each other, perhaps. And Master Chief. Those ancient eyes fixed on Chief with uncomfortable intensity. Trust, earned it must be. Watching you, we are. Disappoint us, do not. I'll try not to, Chief said. But I make no promises about being comfortable. Comfortable. Yoda chuckled. Comfortable, war is not. Comfortable, change never is. Good, this is. Complacency, the true enemy, becomes. The council session ended with formal dismissals and uncomfortable glances. Chief followed Skywalker and Kenobi from the chamber, Rex and his escort falling in behind. As they descended from the tower, Cortana spoke privately. Chief, that was either brilliant or insane. You just made the Jedi Council acknowledge their army is enslaved. They needed to hear it. And if they decide you're too dangerous to keep around? Chief glanced back at Rex, at the clone captain who'd vouched for him twice now, who commanded soldiers bred for war but deserving of dignity. Then they'll learn what a Spartan does when people try to control him. The Coruscant sunset painted the temple in amber light, and somewhere in the city's depths, war continued while politicians debated and soldiers died. But for the first time since arriving in this galaxy, Chief felt like he might make a difference, even if it cost him everything. The 501st Legion's barracks occupied 3 levels of military infrastructure beneath the Jedi Temple, stark contrast to the ancient grandeur above. Functional corridors, efficient lighting, clone troopers moving with synchronized purpose through spaces designed for utility rather than inspiration. Chief recognized military architecture immediately. This was where soldiers lived when they weren't dying, where warriors became statistics between deployments. Rex led him through the barracks with professional courtesy that had warmed into something approaching respect. Clone troopers stopped to stare as Chief passed, the golden visor and green armor drawing attention like a beacon. Whispers followed in his wake. The guy from the Outer Rim took down 3 AAT solo, made the council uncomfortable. Rumors spreading with viral efficiency through the military network. You've got a reputation already, Rex said, guiding Chief into a private briefing room. Half the Legion thinks you're some kind of experimental commando. The other half thinks you're a Jedi who forgot how to use the Force. And a few conspiracy theorists think you're a Mandalorian from the future. What do you think? Chief asked. Rex removed his helmet, revealing the face Chief had seen on hundreds of identical bodies, but marked by unique experience. Faint scar over left eye, slight asymmetry, suggesting broken nose healed imperfectly. Exhaustion that came from leading men into battles they couldn't all survive. I think you're what you said you are. A soldier from somewhere else. And I think you meant what you said to the council about us. The pronoun emphasis wasn't subtle. Rex understood exactly what Chief had done in that chamber. Forced the Jedi to acknowledge clone personhood in front of witnesses, created political momentum that couldn't be easily dismissed. It was tactical maneuvering on bureaucratic battlefield, and Rex recognized the strategy. Your people, Chief said simply. The Jedi needed reminding. Most don't see it that way. Rex leaned against the briefing table, the casual posture suggesting comfort that contradicted his military bearing. We're Republic property. Commissioned assets. The Kaminoans who created us are very clear about that. We're products, not citizens. Designed for loyalty, trained for combat, programmed to follow orders. Programmed. Rex's expression flickered. Behavioral conditioning. Genetic modifications that make us naturally obedient, psychologically resistant to questioning command structure. We're born soldiers because we're built to be soldiers. He paused. Except it doesn't always work perfectly. Some of us develop personality, think independently, question orders when they don't make sense. Like you. Like me, Rex confirmed. General Skywalker encourages it. Says he'd rather have soldiers who think than droids who obey. Most Jedi prefer compliance. Cortana appeared in Chief's HUD, her avatar attentive. Chief, this is darker than we thought. Genetic conditioning to enforce obedience? That's not training. That's brainwashing on biological level. And if Rex is developing resistance to it. Chief studied the clone captain with new understanding. Rex wasn't just a soldier. He was a person fighting against his own programming, achieving individuality despite design specifications meant to prevent it. That took strength, Chief recognized intimately. The Spartan 2 program used psychological conditioning. Chief said carefully. Made us loyal to UNSC, committed to protecting humanity, willing to sacrifice ourselves without hesitation. Some candidates resisted. Most of them washed out or died during augmentation. The ones who survived learned to balance conditioning with independent thought. He met Rex's eyes. It's possible to be both soldier and person. Difficult but possible. Rex absorbed that, something shifting in his expression, recognition, maybe, or hope. General Skywalker wants you attached to the 501st as special operative. The council approved it, probably because Yoda finds you interesting and Windu wants you monitored. You'll deploy with us, fight alongside us, and help us not die quite as often. He smiled slightly. Think you can handle that? I've handled worse. You say that a lot. I've lived worse, Chief clarified. The briefing room's holoprojector activated, displaying a three-dimensional star map that Cortana immediately began cataloging. Hundreds of systems, fleet positions marked in blue and red, battle lines stretching across what Chief's perspective recognized as an entire galactic arm. The scope was staggering. The Human Covenant War had spanned dozens of worlds across several hundred light years. This conflict encompassed thousands of systems across a galaxy. Current strategic situation, Rex began, shifting into professional briefing mode. Republic forces control the core worlds and most of the mid-rim. Separatists dominate the outer rim territories and several strategic industrial sectors. We're fighting on 3,000 active fronts simultaneously, with new battles emerging daily. The 501st specializes in high-risk operations, planetary liberations, tactical strikes, rescue missions where standard clone battalions would suffer unacceptable casualties. Your special forces, Chief observed. We're the best, Rex said without arrogance, just stating fact. General Skywalker handpicked every trooper in this legion. We're ARC training standards, commando certifications, survival rates 3 times normal clone units. We go where the fighting's hardest and come back alive more often than we should. The hologram shifted, focusing on a specific system. Industrial world orbited by manufacturing stations. Strategic positioning near major hyperspace routes. Text scrolled in language Cortana, translated instantly. Anax's critical shipyard facility, under Separatist siege. Our next deployment, Rex explained. Separatist fleets besieging Anax's shipyards. If they capture it, they gain construction capacity for capital ship production and strategic control of the Prelimian trade route. Republics throwing everything we have at holding it. The 501st deploys in 36 hours. Chief studied the tactical display. Separatist positions suggested standard siege pattern, orbital blockade, ground forces securing landing zones, steady pressure designed to exhaust defenders until capitulation. But something about the formation was wrong, too precise, too patient for droid commanders who typically prioritize numerical advantage over tactical sophistication. Who's commanding the Separatist forces? Chief asked. Unknown. Rex's tone carried frustration. That's the concerning part. Separatist tactics are usually predictable. Droid armies follow programmed strategies, overwhelmed through numbers, minimal adaptation. But this siege shows strategic creativity we don't normally see. Someone smart is commanding those droids. Dooku. Possibly. Or one of his agents. The Count's trained several dark side apprentices, force-sensitive commanders, who lead Separatist forces with Jedi-level tactical awareness. Rex highlighted several fleet positions. We're going in with 3-star destroyers, 2 battalions of clone troopers, and Jedi support. The plan is to break the orbital blockade, deploy ground forces to reinforce the shipyards, and hold until reinforcements arrive. That's a terrible plan, Chief said flatly. Rex blinked. Excuse me. 3-star destroyers against established orbital blockade? They'll see you coming hours before you arrive. The Separatists will fortify positions, concentrate fire, and destroy your capital ships before ground deployment's viable. You'll lose fleet assets, most of your clone battalions, and Anax's falls anyway. Silence. Rex stared at Chief with expression, suggesting nobody had challenged operational planning quite this directly before. Then the clone captain smiled slowly. General Skywalker said you'd be interesting. All right, Master Chief. You think the plan's terrible? What would you do instead? Chief manipulated the holographic display, Cortana helping interface with unfamiliar controls. He isolated Separatist fleet positions, defense grids, patrol routes. 40 years of military experience, infantry combat, naval operations, special warfare tactics, processed the battlefield with calculation that made strategy seem inevitable. Diversionary strike here. Chief indicated a secondary system 17 light-years from Anax's. Small Republic force, enough to draw Separatist attention and suggest major offensive. While they're repositioning assets to respond, your main fleet performs short-range hyperspace jump directly into Anax's orbit, close enough that their blockade can't concentrate fire before you're in weapons range. Simultaneously, Special Forces teams, he gestured to Rex, insert via stealth dropships to sabotage ground-based anti-air installations. Create chaos on 3 fronts simultaneously. Separatists have superior numbers, but inferior coordination. Exploit that. Rex studied the proposed strategy, eyes tracking fleet movements, calculating timing, weighing variables. His expression shifted from skepticism to consideration to growing enthusiasm. That might work. Risky as hell, but it might work. Problem is convincing high command to approve it. The Jedi Council prefers strategies that minimize collateral damage, even if it costs more clone lives. The Jedi prefer philosophy over pragmatism. The Jedi prefer being peacekeepers who got forced into military command, Rex corrected. Most of them are brilliant tacticians, but they're constrained by ethics that don't always align with winning wars. General Skywalker's different. He'll take risks, bend rules, prioritize victory over procedure. That's why the 501st survives when others don't. Cortana interjected privately. Chief, I'm detecting communication traffic about you. The Council's discussing your integration into Republic forces. Some members are advocating full access to military operations. Others want you restricted, monitored, kept away from sensitive intelligence. Mace Windu just filed a formal concern about unverified assets with unknown loyalties. Politics, Chief muttered. Welcome to galactic warfare, Rex said, interpreting Chief's expression. It's not just droids and Jedi. It's Senate bureaucracy, military hierarchy, competing agendas, and Jedi Masters who've forgotten what it's like to bleed. You challenged the Council today. That makes you interesting to some, dangerous to others. The briefing room door opened. Skywalker entered, followed by Kenobi and a third figure Chief hadn't met. Togruta female, similar species to Council member Shakti, but younger. Orange skin marked with white patterns, predatory grace evident in every movement. She carried herself with confidence that suggested both Jedi training and combat experience. Master Chief, Skywalker said with characteristic energy, meet Ahsoka Tano, my Padawan. Ahsoka, this is the interdimensional super soldier who's been making the Council uncomfortable all day. I heard about your speech, Ahsoka said, studying Chief with open curiosity. Half the temple's talking about the warrior who called the clone army slavery. That took courage. Or insanity. Haven't decided which. Usually both, Chief said, echoing Rex's earlier assessment. Kenobi moved to the holographic display, examining Chief's proposed strategy with practiced eye. His expression remained neutral, but Chief noted the minute nod, professional recognition of tactical competence. Interesting approach. aggressive, unconventional, and likely to get us all killed or decorated. Very much Anakin style. Hey, Skywalker protested. My plans work. Your plans succeed despite their insanity, not because of it, Kenobi corrected. To Chief, however, in this case, I think your assessment is sound. The current Anax's strategy is conservative, designed by committee, refined by bureaucracy, optimized for acceptable losses rather than decisive victory. Your proposal prioritizes ending the siege quickly. Before more clones die, Chief said. Before more soldiers die, Kenobi amended gently. You're right that we've been treating them as resources rather than people. That's a failure we need to address. But change happens slowly in institutions as ancient as the Jedi Order. The clones don't have time for slow change, Chief countered. They die while bureaucracy debates. Rex shifted uncomfortably. This conversation was veering into territory that could get clone troopers disciplined for insubordination. But Skywalker just grinned. See Ahsoka? Told you he was direct. No political maneuvering, no diplomatic phrasing. Just tactical honesty delivered with maximum bluntness. I like him, Ahsoka decided. We're keeping him, right? That depends on whether he survives deployment, Kenobi said. And whether the Council decides his presence is asset or liability. Master Yoda finds him intriguing, which is promising. Master Windu finds him dangerous, which is concerning. The next few missions will determine which assessment prevails. Then I'll make sure they're victories, Chief said. Rex clasped his helmet back on, posture shifting to professional military formality. Orders, General? Skywalker studied the holographic display, comparing current strategy to Chief's proposal. Decision played across his features, caution versus aggression, safety versus effectiveness. Then he smiled, the expression carrying reckless confidence Chief recognized in special warfare operators who survived through skill and audacity. We're modifying the Anax's operation. Master Chief strategy, Rex's execution. Put together a strike team, your best soldiers, specialized equipment, mission profile for deep penetration and sabotage. We hit the Separatists where they're not expecting it. The Council approved this. Kenobi asked carefully. The Council gave me operational discretion for 500 first deployments, Skywalker said. And they assigned Master Chief to my command. I'm exercising that discretion. That's not exactly what they meant. Master Kenobi, Skywalker interrupted with exaggerated formality. Are you questioning my interpretation of lawful orders? Kenobi sighed with long-suffering patience. No, Anakin. I'm anticipating the conversation we'll have with Master Windu when this inevitably goes sideways. If it goes sideways, Ahsoka corrected optimistically. When? Kenobi repeated firmly. Chief watched the exchange, master and apprentice, seasoned general and reckless prodigy, philosophical wisdom and aggressive action. They trusted each other despite disagreements, functioned as unit despite contrasting approaches. It reminded him of working with UNSC officers who understood that special operations required flexibility over procedure. 36 hours until deployment, Rex confirmed. Master Chief, you'll need quarters, equipment familiarization, and tactical briefings on Separatist capabilities. We've got training facilities if you want to test our weapons, armor repair stations for your Mjolnir. I'll handle my own armor maintenance, Chief interrupted. But weapons familiarization sounds useful. And I need to understand your squad tactics, communication protocols, and combat doctrine. If I'm fighting beside you, I need to know how you operate. Smart, Rex approved. Most special operators assume they're better than regular clones. You're asking to learn our systems. I've worked with ODST units, Marine battalions, Navy personnel. Every unit has unique strengths. Ignoring that gets people killed. Rex extended his hand. Formal greeting Chief hadn't seen from the clone captain before. Welcome to the 501st, Master Chief. Try not to get us all killed. Chief clasped the offered hand. I'll do my best. As the briefing dispersed and preparations began, Cortana spoke quietly. Chief, we're committing to this. Fighting their war, integrating with their military, becoming part of their conflict. We still don't know how to get home. I know, Chief said. But until we do, these soldiers need help. And I'm a soldier. It's what I do. Even in a galaxy far from home. Especially then. Through the barracks windows, Coruscant's endless city stretched to the horizon. Billions of beings living under Republic protection that cost clone soldiers their lives daily. Somewhere in this galaxy, dimensional pathways existed that might lead home. But first, there was a battle to win and soldiers to keep alive. Master Chief had deployed into worse situations. Usually, the Separatist offer arrived 18 hours before deployment. Chief was in the 501 Estes Armory, familiarizing himself with Republic weapons systems under Rex's supervision, when Cortana's alert chimed with unusual urgency. Chief, encrypted communication, just hit the Resolute's secure channel. It's addressed to you specifically. And Chief, it's using UNSC encryption protocols. That was impossible. UNSC encryption required quantum-entangled keys that didn't exist in this galaxy. Algorithms developed over centuries of human warfare. Security architecture completely alien to Republic technology. Someone had reverse-engineered his armor's communication signatures in under 24 hours, cracked encryption that should have been unbreakable, and sent a message that bypassed Republic security entirely. Can you trace it? Chief subvocalized, continuing his examination of a DC-15A blaster rifle while Rex explained optimal firing patterns. Already did. Source is a Separatist command ship, 12 light-years from Coruscant. Whoever sent this wants you to know they can reach you anywhere. Chief set down the blaster. Rex, I need privacy for a situation. How secure is this armory? The clone captain read Chief's body language. Decades of combat experience recognizing threat assessment when he saw it. Secure enough. I'll be outside. He gestured to the other troopers, who followed without question. The armory door sealed with a magnetic hiss. Play it, Chief said. The holographic projector activated. Unauthorized access that should have triggered security alerts except Cortana had already suppressed them. The figure that resolved was humanoid, elderly, distinguished, silver beard, aristocratic features, robes that suggested wealth and authority. But it was the eyes that made Chief's tactical assessment spike. Intelligent, calculating, containing the kind of dangerous charisma that started wars or ended them. Master Chief, the figure began, voice cultured and precise. I am Count Dooku, leader of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Please don't be alarmed by my reaching you. I merely wish to talk, soldier to soldier, before the Jedi send you to die in a war you don't understand. Chief said nothing, watching for tactical tells, analyzing body language, cataloging threats. Dooku continued, By now, the Jedi have told you I'm a monster. A fallen master who embraced darkness, who betrayed noble principles for power. They've framed this war as Republic virtue against Separatist evil. They've shown you clone soldiers fighting droid armies and asked you to choose the side that bleeds rather than the side that calculates. He paused. But they haven't told you the truth. And soldier, you deserve truth. Cortana, Chief subvocalized analysis. Biometrics show elevated stress but controlled. He's nervous but hiding it well. His eye movements suggest he's reading from prepared notes, but the emotional resonance is genuine. He believes what he's saying. And Chief, I'm detecting Force signatures around him. This isn't just a commander. He's one of those Force users Rex mentioned. Dooku's hologram gestured, and the display shifted to show Republic Senate sessions. Politicians arguing, corruption scandals, corporate influence, purchasing legislation. The Galactic Republic is dying. Not from Separatist attacks, but from internal rot that's festered for centuries. Senators bought by corporate interests. Systems exploited for resources while populations starve. A chancellor who's accumulated emergency powers with every crisis. Powers he never relinquishes. The hologram focused on a politician, elderly human, grandfatherly appearance. Smile that seemed kind until Chief noticed how it didn't reach the eyes. Chancellor Palpatine. The Jedi trust him. The Senate obeys him. And he's orchestrating this war for purposes neither side understands. That's a bold claim, Chief said aloud, knowing Cortana was recording everything. It's a true claim, Dooku replied. the hologram responding as if interactive. I was a Jedi Master for 70 years. I saw the Order's failures, watched them become enforcers for corrupt politicians, witnessed their refusal to address galactic inequality. When I left, I thought I could reform the Republic through political means. I was wrong. The system is too broken for repair. His expression hardened. So I built an alternative. The Confederacy represents thousands of systems who refuse to be exploited anymore. Yes, we use droid armies, but droids don't bleed, don't suffer, don't leave families grieving. The Republic uses slave soldiers grown in tanks and thrown into battles they didn't choose. Chief's hands clenched unconsciously. Dooku had touched exactly the nerve Chief had exposed in the council chamber. You saw it immediately, Dooku continued. The Jedi's great shame. They command an army of manufactured beings, genetically programmed for obedience, designed to die without complaint. The council calls it necessary. I call it evil. He leaned forward, intensity building. And you, Master Chief, you understand this intimately, don't you? The Spartan program. Children taken, augmented, trained to be weapons. You were made into exactly what the Republic made those clones. The difference is, you had the strength to maintain your humanity despite programming. Most clones never get that chance. Cortana's voice carried warning. Chief, he knows too much about you. Way too much. Either he's got intelligence capabilities beyond anything the Republic demonstrated, or someone's feeding him information about UNSC programs that shouldn't exist in this galaxy. How do you know about Spartan 2? Chief asked directly. Dooku smiled slightly. I have resources the Jedi don't acknowledge. Force visions that reveal truths across dimensional barriers. Ancient Sith techniques that pierce veils between realities. He paused. And I have motivation to understand threats before they become problems. When you arrived, I felt it a disturbance, an anomaly, something wrong in the Force's natural flow. I investigated. What I discovered was fascinating. A warrior from a galaxy where mystical power doesn't exist, where humans fought extinction-level warfare against superior enemies and survived through determination and sacrifice alone. The Jedi see you as curiosity. I see you as proof. Proof of what? That the Force isn't universal truth, it's local phenomenon. That beings can be powerful without mystical enlightenment. That the Jedi's philosophical monopoly is arrogance, not wisdom. Dooku's expression became earnest. Join me, Master Chief. Not as servant or soldier, but as ally. Help me build a confederacy that doesn't enslave clones, doesn't pretend manufactured beings are property. Together, we could end this war quickly. Republic forces respect Jedi leadership, but they'd follow a warrior who demonstrates competence over philosophy. You could save millions of clone lives by helping me defeat the corrupt system that created them. The offer hung in the holographic display. Chief processed variables, calculated outcomes, weighed Dooku's words against evidence. The Count's arguments contained uncomfortable truth. The Republic was corrupt. The clone army was slavery. The war's orchestration suggested hidden players. But Dooku's solution involved joining forces that used droid armies to terrorize systems, that employed tactics like planetary bombardment and civilian targeting, that served interests Chief didn't understand. Why should I trust you? Chief asked. The Jedi say you've fallen to darkness, that you murder innocents and serve some hidden Sith master. Dooku's expression flickered, micro-expression suggesting pain or regret. I have done terrible things in service of necessary goals. War demands sacrifice. The Jedi claim moral superiority while sending clone soldiers to die by thousands. I employ droids instead, machines that can be replaced without grief. Which is more ethical? Killing those who cannot choose their fate, or destroying machines built for destruction? You're avoiding the question about your master. My master, Dooku said carefully, shares my vision of galactic reformation. Together, we've built a movement that offers real alternative to Republic corruption. If that requires embracing power the Jedi call darkness, perhaps their definitions need examination. That's still not an answer. Dooku sighed. You're as direct as reported. Very well. My master's identity remains secret because revealing it would compromise our strategic advantage. Suffice to say, he's positioned to end this war from within when the time comes. When that happens, Master Chief, I'd prefer you standing with us rather than against us. You have 24 hours to consider my offer. If you're interested, encrypt a response using your original UNSC protocols. I'll receive it and arrange secure meeting. The hologram began dissolving. One final thought, soldier. The Jedi will tell you I'm manipulating you, offering seduction through dark side lies. Ask yourself, have they been honest about clone slavery? Have they acknowledged the Republic's failures? Have they questioned why this war began or who truly benefits from its continuation? His image faded. Think carefully and choose wisely. The transmission ended. Chief stood in the empty armory, processing, calculating, weighing. Cortana materialized in full holographic form, her avatar pacing with agitated energy. That was either the most sophisticated intelligence operation I've ever seen, she said, or Dooku's telling the truth about Force visions revealing things across dimensions. Either way, he knows too much. And Chief, some of his arguments are valid. The Republic is corrupt. The clones are slaves. The Jedi are complicit. But, Chief prompted, hearing the hesitation. But he's offering power through joining people who bomb civilians, who've killed billions in this war, who serve some hidden master with unknown agenda. The enemy of your enemy isn't automatically your friend. And anyone who says, trust me, I can't explain why, is usually someone you shouldn't trust. Chief moved to the armory's window, looking out over Coruscant's endless cityscape. Somewhere in those kilometers of construction, clone troopers prepared for deployment. Soldiers who'd accepted Chief despite his origin, who'd fought beside him without hesitation, who deserved better than being property in a war neither side could win. Run analysis, Chief said. Everything Dooku claimed. Cross-reference with Republic records Cortana's accessed. Compare to observed data. Identify verifiable facts versus manipulative speculation. Already on it, Cortana replied. Holographic displays erupted around the armory. Senate corruption scandals, clone casualty statistics, Chancellor Palpatine's emergency powers accumulation, separatist tactical patterns. Corruption claims, verified. Multiple Senate investigations show corporate capture of legislation. Clone casualty rates, verified and horrifying, 3.2 million clones commissioned. Current strength down to 2.1 million after 2 years. That's over 1 million dead in 24 months. Palpatine's power accumulation, verified. He's holding emergency authority that would normally revert to Senate after crisis resolution. This war has made him effectively dictator with democratic facade. What about the separatist civilian casualties? Also verified. Bombardment of Ryloth killed millions. Siege of Onderon caused mass starvation. The separatists aren't saints. Their droid armies don't distinguish between military targets and civilian populations when conquest efficiency is prioritized. Chief processed the data. Both sides had legitimate grievances. Both sides committed atrocities. Both sides claimed moral high ground while standing on mountains of corpses. It was depressingly familiar. Every war chief had fought featured moral complexity beneath surface narratives, competing truths that didn't resolve into simple good versus evil. The question wasn't whether Dooku was right about Republic corruption. The question was whether joining the Separatists would actually improve anything, or just change which side Chief's actions benefited. The armory door opened. Rex entered cautiously, reading Chief's posture with veteran's expertise. Situation resolved? Complicated. Chief said, I need to talk to Skywalker. Privately. Rex nodded, asking no questions, respecting operational security. He's in his quarters. Meditation time before deployment prep. I'll let him know you're coming. 20 minutes later, Chief stood in Skywalker's personal quarters, sparse accommodations, suggesting someone who spent minimal time there, dominated by workbench covered in mechanical components and droid parts. Skywalker sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, breathing controlled. Forced meditation, Chief cataloged. I know you're there. Skywalker said without opening his eyes. Your absence in the Force is like negative space, a hole where something should be. His eyes opened, studying Chief. What's wrong? Chief made his decision. Tactical honesty had served him so far. Count Dooku just contacted me, made me an offer to join the Separatists. And some of his arguments were convincing. To Skywalker's credit, his hand didn't move toward his lightsaber. His expression didn't shift to suspicion or anger. Instead, he gestured for Chief to sit, not meditation posture, just two soldiers talking strategy. Tell me everything, Skywalker said. And Chief? I'm not going to judge you for listening. Dooku's good at finding people's doubts and exploiting them. That's why he's dangerous. So Chief told him everything. The encrypted message, the corruption claims, the clone slavery acknowledgement, the offer of alliance, Dooku's knowledge of Spartan 2 program. Skywalker listened without interruption, processing, calculating, weighing information with practiced military mind. When Chief finished, Skywalker was quiet for long moments. Then, Dooku's right about most of it. The Republic is corrupt. The clones are treated as property. The war's orchestration has patterns that don't make sense. It's too balanced, too prolonged, like someone's maintaining equilibrium instead of seeking victory. He met Chief's eyes. The Jedi Council knows this. We debate it constantly. But we don't have better alternatives. If we abandon the Republic, who protects the innocent systems caught in the crossfire. If we refuse to lead the clone army, who ensures they're treated with any dignity at all. So you choose complicity? We choose the least terrible option available, Skywalker corrected. And we work to change the system from within. Master Yoda's been pushing for clone citizenship legislation. Obi-Wan's investigating Senate corruption. I'm doing everything I can to keep my men alive and make sure they're treated as soldiers, not equipment. His expression hardened. But Dooku? He's not offering salvation. He's offering different tyranny. He serves a Sith Lord, we don't know who, but the Sith want to destroy the Jedi and rule through fear and domination. Whatever corruption exists in the Republic, Sith rule would be infinitely worse. You're sure about that? I've fought Dooku. I've seen what Sith do when they have power. Skywalker held up his mechanical hand. He did this. Cut off my hand during our last duel, and he enjoyed it. Not because it was tactically necessary, but because cruelty feeds the dark side. That's who Dooku is beneath his cultured facade. Chief absorbed that. Personal experience, observed behavior, tactical assessment based on direct confrontation. That carried weight. What do you need from me? Chief asked. Skywalker smiled slightly. Honesty. Tell me if you're considering his offer. Don't make the decision alone. We're a team now. 501st doesn't abandon its own. And that includes interdimensional super soldiers who make the Council uncomfortable. I'm not joining Dooku, Chief decided. But I'm not ignoring his warnings either. Someone's manipulating this war. Maybe it's his Sith Master. Maybe it's someone in the Republic. But the patterns are wrong, and I've learned to trust patterns. Then we investigate, Skywalker said simply. Together. Figure out who's really running this war and why. And Master Chief. His expression turned serious. Thank you for bringing this to me instead of making a decision in isolation. That's trust. The Jedi appreciate trust. I'm not Jedi. No, Skywalker agreed. You're something else entirely. Maybe something better. The deployment clock counted down. Anaxes waited. And somewhere in the galaxy, Count Dooku anticipated Chief's response to an offer that revealed uncomfortable truths about the war they were all fighting. Chief would give him an answer. Just not the one Dooku expected. The Battle of Anaxes began with deception. Chief stood in the Resolute's hangar bay, surrounded by the strike team Rex had assembled. 12 clone commandos, the 501SD's finest, soldiers who'd survived operations that killed entire battalions. They wore experimental armor, darker than standard white plastoid, marked with customized insignia that spoke to personality developing despite genetic uniformity. These weren't manufactured soldiers following programming. These were warriors who'd earned their reputations through competence and survival. Strike team roster, Rex announced, introducing each commando. Fives and Echo, ARC troopers, demolition specialists, survived the Citadel breakout. Jesse and Kix, heavy weapons and combat medic, respectively. Hard case, if it shoots, explodes, or terrifies the enemy, he loves it. The commandos nodded as Rex named them, studying Chief with professional assessment that bordered on challenge. Five stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal the standard clone face marked by a distinctive tattoo. We heard you took down 3 AAT solo. Respectfully, sir, that sounds like exaggeration. It wasn't, Rex said flatly. I watched it happen. Master Chief moves like a Jedi without the Force. You'll understand once you see him in combat. Looking forward to it, Five said, grin suggesting competitive spirit rather than hostility. The LAT/I gunship designated for insertion was modified for stealth operations, signal dampeners, reduced engine signature, dark hull plating that absorbed sensor sweeps. Cortana had spent 18 hours integrating with the ship systems, learning Republic navigation protocols, mapping Separatist defense grids from intelligence Rex provided. Chief, she said privately, I've cracked the Separatist command network. Not completely. Their security's better than Republic systems, but enough to monitor fleet movements and tactical communications. And Chief, Dooku was right about one thing. The Separatist siege commander is receiving encrypted orders from someone outside normal command structure. Orders that override local tactical decisions. Someone's controlling the battle, Chief concluded. Someone's controlling the entire war, Cortana corrected. I'm seeing communication patterns that suggest coordination between Republic and Separatist leadership. Not cooperation, exactly, but synchronization. Like both sides are following the same invisible conductor. Chief filed that information as Skywalker and Kenobi entered the hangar, flanked by Ahsoka and a full platoon of clone troopers. The diversionary force, 3 Star Destroyers loaded with visible military assets, meant to draw Separatist attention, while the real operation proceeded unseen. Remember the plan, Skywalker addressed the assembled forces. We jump in system at these coordinates. Holographic display showed entry vectors, make maximum noise, force the Separatists to redeploy assets. While they're busy with us, the strike team inserts via stealth approach, sabotages ground-based defense installations, and opens a hole in their coverage. Once the hole's clear, we deploy the main invasion force. Simple, direct, probably insane, Kenobi observed. Classic Skywalker strategy. It'll work, Skywalker said confidently. Then, to Chief, your job is keeping my commandos alive and blowing things up. Think you can handle that? I've handled worse. You really need a new saying, Ahsoka commented. The hangar erupted with controlled chaos. Clone troopers loading equipment, starfighters launching for escort duty, military machinery mobilizing for war. Chief watched the efficiency, the synchronized movement that came from genetic similarity enhanced by professional training. These soldiers deserved better than being disposable assets in someone's hidden game. Rex appeared at Chief's shoulder, helmet sealed, voice carrying electronic edge through external speakers. Ready for your first Republic operation? Ready to see if your commandos can keep up, Chief replied. Rex laughed. Oh, I like this guy. All right, strike team, mount up. We've got a siege to break. The stealth LAT launched from the Resolute's ventral hangar, engines running silent as Republic technology allowed. Signal dampeners creating electronic void that made the gunship nearly invisible to standard sensors. Through the viewport, Chief watched Coruscant fall away, replaced by the infinite darkness of space. Then the hyperspace jump, stars elongating impossibly, reality folding through dimensions that weren't quite dimensions, FTL travel that violated physics Chief understood, but worked anyway. Cortana's avatar appeared beside him, visible only in his HUD. Chief, analyzing their hyperspace technology. It's not slip space, it's something else entirely. They're traveling through a parallel dimension where space is compressed, like taking shortcuts through the fabric of reality itself. The calculations are insane. One miscalculation, and we'd exit inside a star or get torn apart by gravitational shear. But you understand it? Understanding and liking are different things, Cortana said. But yes, I've mapped the principles. If we ever need emergency exit from this galaxy, I might be able to adapt their hyperspace drives to our purposes. Emphasis on might. The gunship dropped from hyperspace at the system's edge, 18 million kilometers from Anaxes proper. Through the viewport, Chief saw the siege, separatist fleet in orbital blockade formation, dozens of capital ships bristling with weapons, starfighter patrols creating defensive screen that nothing should penetrate undetected. And on the planet below, industrial shipyards burning under sustained bombardment. "There's our target," Rex said, highlighting ground-based defense installations through the tactical display. 6 anti-aircraft batteries, droid-operated, covering approach vectors to the primary shipyard. "We take those out, Republic reinforcements can land safely. Simple demolition job." "Nothing simple," Chief observed. "True. Which is why we brought you." The stealth approach took 40 minutes of careful maneuvering. Pilot threading the gunship between patrol routes. Cortana spoofing sensor returns to show empty space instead of military transport. They entered atmosphere on the planet's night side, using darkness and terrain masking to approach the first installation. Chief studied the target through enhanced optics. Standard separatist design, automated defense platform. Heavy cannons pointed skyward. Droid garrison for security. Command center coordinating with fleet assets overhead. Straightforward assault would trigger alerts, bring reinforcements, compromise the mission. Cortana, infiltration options. Their security network is centralized. Hack the command node. I can disable automated defenses and prevent distress signals. Problem is the command node is inside the installation, surrounded by battle droids. "Then we go in quiet," Chief said. He turned to the strike team. "Rex, your men familiar with stealth operations?" "We're commandos," Five said, sounding insulted. "Stealth is literally in our job description." "Good. Standard penetration pattern. Eliminate sentries silently. Advance to command center. Place demolition charges while Cortana handles electronic warfare. No blaster fire unless compromise is unavoidable." The commandos exchanged glances, nonverbal communication Chief recognized from working with ODST fire teams. They were testing him, weighing whether this outsider deserved tactical authority over veteran operators. Rex settled it. "You heard the man. Load suppressed weapons, vibroblade priority, standard infiltration protocols. Jesse, hard case, perimeter security. Fives, Echo, you're with me, and Master Chief on command center approach. Kix maintains overwatch with medical support. Questions?" "No questions." Professional soldiers accepting chain of command because results mattered more than ego. Chief respected that. The LAAT touched down 2 kilometers from the target. Landing zone concealed by canyon walls that would mask thermal signature. The strike team deployed into Anaxes night, cold. Industrial atmosphere, tasting of chemical processes and burning materials. Chief's motion tracker painted the tactical picture. Installation ahead, droid patrols following predictable patterns, defensive positions automated and predictable. Cortana marked patrol routes. Holographic overlays appeared in Chief's HUD, shared across strike teams' helmet displays through Cortana's integration with cloned communication systems. The commandos responded immediately, adjusting approach vectors to exploit gaps in coverage, moving with practice silence that suggested extensive training. Chief led the advance, Mjolnir armor's silent servos allowing movement that shouldn't be possible for someone carrying half a ton of equipment. The first sentry position, 2 battle droids, scanning sensors, programmed vigilance, appeared through thermal imaging. Chief signaled the strike team to hold position, then moved. Spartan 2 reflexes made him faster than droid response times. He crossed 30 meters in 4 seconds, combat knife deployed, and struck before vocabulators could transmit alerts. The first droid's central processor separated from chassis. The second managed partial vocalization in TRUD. Before Chief's armored fist crushed its communication array and Fives' vibroblade severed critical power connections. "Clean," Fives whispered over comm. "You move like Ghost in armor. That shouldn't be possible." "Lots of things shouldn't be possible," Chief replied. "Let's move." They penetrated the installation's outer perimeter, eliminating 8 droid sentries without raising alarm, infiltrating through maintenance access that Cortana unlocked with casual disregard for separatist encryption. The command center waited in the installations core, reinforced bunker, automated defenses, tactical hub coordinating anti-aircraft operations across the entire sector. 30 battle droids inside, Rex reported, analyzing sensor returns. 2 super battle droids for heavy support. Command node is central position, hardened against assault. We go in loud. We've got maybe 90 seconds before reinforcements arrive from other installations. Then we don't go in loud, Chief said. He studied the command center's architecture, identifying structural weak points, ventilation systems, power distribution nodes. Cortana, can you infiltrate their network from external access? Give me physical connection to any external data port and 30 seconds. Chief pointed to an access panel 15 meters from the command center entrance. 5 Echo, place breaching charges on the main entrance. Timer set for 2 minutes. Rex, your men establish fallback positions in case this goes wrong. I'll provide Cortana's access. You're going alone? Rex asked. Faster alone. If I trigger alert, blow the charges and assault through confusion. Chief moved before Rex could protest, crossing open ground with speed that made clone commandos whisper appreciation. The access panel was concealed, encrypted, protected by basic security that Cortana bypassed in 8 seconds. Chief connected the interface cable from his armor directly to separatist systems. I'm in, Cortana said. Their network security is actually pretty good. Not AI good, but better than Republic systems. Whoever designed this understood information warfare. Her avatar flickered with concentration. Found the command node. Accessing now. And Chief, I'm detecting something weird. There's a secondary communication layer beneath primary systems. Encrypted beyond anything local droids should have. Someone's monitoring this installation remotely. Dooku. Or his mysterious master. Tracking the signal, but it's bounced through so many relay points I can't trace origin. She paused. Got it. Command center defenses disabled, distress signals blocked. Automated systems under my control. You've got 6 minutes before their fleet notices the installation went silent. Chief signaled Rex. The strike team moved with lethal efficiency, breaching the command center, eliminating surprised battle droids before mechanical processors could adapt, securing the facility in 40 seconds of controlled violence. Chief watched the commandos work, professional operators executing textbook assault, protecting each other with practiced coordination that spoke to extensive combat experience. Charges placed, 5s reported, attaching thermal detonators to critical load-bearing structures. 30 seconds after we leave, this whole installation becomes very expensive scrap metal. Then let's not be here when it does, Rex said. Exfil route alpha, standard dispersal pattern. Move. The strike team withdrew through the installation service tunnels, Cortana's sealing doors behind them, creating false sensor readings that suggested structural fire rather than military sabotage. They reached the extraction point as the first detonation shook ground beneath their feet. Command center collapsing inward, anti-aircraft batteries losing coordination, defensive grid fragmenting. Through the night sky, Republic gunships appeared, exploiting the gap Chief's team had created, deploying reinforcements toward the besieged shipyards. The diversionary fleet had done its job. The strike team had done its job. The siege of Anaxes was breaking. 5 installations remain, Rex said, studying tactical updates. Same pattern, infiltrate, sabotage, extract. We do this 5 more times. The Separatists lose orbital superiority. Then let's keep moving, Chief said. They hit the second installation 90 minutes later. Then the third, before dawn. By the time Anaxes' sun rose over burning wreckage, 4 of 6 defensive installations were destroyed. Separatist coordination was fracturing, and Republic forces were landing in strength. But at the 5th installation, everything went wrong. The command center was empty. No droids, no automated defenses, no tactical coordination systems. Just an empty bunker and a holographic display showing a figure Chief recognized immediately. Count Dooku waiting patiently, as if he'd known exactly when they'd arrive. Master Chief, Dooku said, his hologram studying the strike team with interest. Thank you for demonstrating your tactical competence so thoroughly. I confess I'm impressed and disappointed. I offered you alliance. You chose the Republic. That was unwise. The installation's blast doors sealed. Red warning lights flooded the command center. And through the walls, Chief heard the distinctive sound of hundreds of battle droids powering online. It's a trap, Five said unnecessarily. Dooku smiled without humor. Yes. Though in fairness, I did warn you that refusing my offer had consequences. Now let's see if the legendary Master Chief can fight his way out of situations designed specifically to kill him. The hologram vanished. The droids attacked. And the battle of Anaxes became personal. The battle droids came in waves. Standard B1 units first, skeletal frames wielding blasters, advancing with mechanical precision that prioritized overwhelming firepower over self-preservation. Chief's motion tracker painted the tactical nightmare. 48 contacts converging from 3 directions, choke points sealed, extraction routes blocked, and somewhere beyond the installation's walls, heavier units mobilizing. Defensive positions. Rex barked, his command cutting through the initial chaos. Overlapping fields of fire, conserve ammunition, watch your corners. The commandos responded with veteran efficiency, taking cover behind command center consoles, establishing kill zones that forced droids into concentrated approach vectors. Blaster fire erupted, blue energy bolts from droids, red bolts from clone weapons. The command center transforming into kill box that neither side could escape. Chief moved through the firefight with Spartan reflexes. His acquired DC-15A blaster rifle spitting controlled bursts that dropped droids with mechanical precision. His shields absorbed incoming fire, energy barriers flaring orange with each impact, while his tactical mind calculated angles, probabilities, survival mathematics that didn't balance favorably. Cortana, situation assessment. Bad and getting worse, the AI replied, her avatar flickering with stress as she fought separatist electronic countermeasures. Dooku's locked down the entire facility. Blast doors are magnetically sealed, too strong even for breaching charges. Emergency exits collapsed remotely. He's turned this installation into a tomb, and Chief, her voice carried unusual fear. I'm detecting seismic signatures. He's bringing heavy armor. Those vibrations match super battle droids and droidekas. Droidekas, Chief asked, eliminating 3 battle droids advancing through a doorway. Rolling death machines, Rex supplied, his blaster carbine cutting down droids with practiced efficiency. Shield generators, twin blasters, armored chassis. They're why the Republic loses ground battles despite clone superiority. 1 droideka can hold a corridor against a platoon. The first wave of battle droids fell, their bodies cluttering the command center floor with sparking wreckage. But Chief heard the second wave approaching. Heavier footsteps, reinforced servos. The distinctive whir of advanced combat units powering up. Super battle droids burst through 3 entrances simultaneously, bulkier than standard units, built-in wrist blasters, armor plating that absorbed blaster fire that would destroy lesser droids. They advanced with programmed aggression, targeting commandos with calculated precision. Hard case, explosives. Rex shouted. The commando grinned behind his helmet, armed a thermal detonator, and threw with accuracy born from countless similar situations. The detonator sailed through the air, struck a super battle droid's chest, and detonated. The explosion consumed 3 droids in superheated plasma, but 6 more pressed forward through the smoking remains. Chief switched tactics, closing distance instead of maintaining firefight range. His augmented strength let him grab a super battle droid's arm as it aimed, twist with mechanical leverage that exceeded the droid's structural integrity, and tear the limb clean off. He used the severed arm, still firing, to destroy 2 more droids before the power cell depleted. He just ripped a super battle droid apart, Echo said, his voice mixing awe with disbelief. With his hands. Focus on not dying. Rex snapped. Kicks casualties? Jesse took a hit, shoulder wound. He's still operational. Hard case armor's compromised, left leg actuator damaged. Everyone else functional, but we're burning through ammunition faster than. The droidekas rolled into the command center. Chief had fought Covenant hunters, armored juggernauts that took rocket launchers to kill. He'd faced Promethean Knights, Forerunner constructs that phased through cover and required sustained fire to eliminate. But droidekas were something different. Compact spheres that unfolded into tripod platforms, energy shields snapping into existence, twin blasters unleashing sustained fire that turned the command center into a death zone. His Mjolnir shields took 3 hits and collapsed. Warning indicators flashed across his HUD. Shield generator offline. Recharge initiating. 40 seconds until recovery. Chief dove behind a console as droideka fire chewed through his previous position. The Republic made cover disintegrating under sustained assault. They're concentrating fire on Chief. 5 shouted. Why are they? Because Dooku programmed them to, Cortana interrupted, her voice tight. He's adapted droid targeting algorithms specifically for Chief. They're ignoring everyone else to focus on the biggest threat. Chief, they're treating you like a Jedi. Overwhelming force applied to single target until shields fail and armor breaches. Rex understood immediately. Commandos draw their fire. Spread out, make yourselves threats, force target reacquisition. The clones responded with suicidal courage, breaking cover to fire at droidekas from multiple angles, accepting hits to their armor to split droid attention. Jesse went down, his shoulder wound reopened by glancing blaster bolt. Hardcase damaged leg gave out, sending him sprawling while droideka fire tracked his movement. Chief's shields recharged, 57%, 73%, 89%, but not fast enough. The droidekas were adapting, ignoring the commandos, maintaining target lock on Chief with programming that suggested tactical awareness beyond standard droid intelligence. Cortana, I need options. Working on it. Their shields operate on different principles than yours. Sustained energy barriers rather than kinetic redistribution. Conventional weapons won't penetrate, but she paused. Chief, their power distribution cycles every 3.7 seconds to prevent overload. There's a microsecond window where shield integrity drops to 23% during the cycling process. If you can time your shots exactly. I can, Chief said. He watched the nearest droideka through his helmet's enhanced targeting, analyzing shield fluctuation patterns, measuring the cycle, waiting for the infinitesimal moment when shield weakened. Now, Chief fired 6 rounds in control burst, each bolt timed to microsecond precision, exploiting the shield cycling window that human reflexes shouldn't be able to perceive. All 6 bolts penetrated during shield weakness, striking the droideka's central processor. The droid collapsed, shields dissipating, weapons falling silent. How did he? Echo started. Later. Rex interrupted. He gave us a method. Concentrated fire, synchronized bursts, wait for shield flicker. But timing droideka shields required enhanced perception the clones didn't possess. Chief could do it because Spartan augmentation gave him reaction times measured in milliseconds. The commandos were skilled, but they were human. Normal human. Chief made his decision. Rex, fall back to the secondary chamber. I'll hold this position, buy you time to breach the blast doors. Negative, Rex said flatly. We don't leave men behind. That's 501st protocol. I'm not asking permission, Captain. I'm giving tactical assessment. I can survive this longer than your men. Get them out. Master Chief. That's an order. The absurdity of an outsider giving orders to clone Captain registered in Rex's posture. But the veteran soldier recognized tactical truth when he heard it. His men were dying. Chief could hold longer. The mathematics balanced on blood and pragmatism. You better survive this, Rex said. Because if you die proving a point, I'm going to be very annoyed. He switched to company-wide comm, all commandos, fighting retreat to secondary chamber. Establish new defensive line. Move, move, move. The clones withdrew with disciplined fire and maneuver, covering each other, dragging wounded, maintaining suppression on advancing droids, while Chief held the command center's central position. Alone. 3 droidekas. 8 super battle droids. Dozens of standard units, swarming through every entrance. And Master Chief, shields at full charge, ammunition running low, facing overwhelming odds, because somebody had to, and he was designed for this. Cortana, Chief said, his voice utterly calm despite tactical nightmare surrounding him. Any inspirational observations? Don't die would be the primary one, she replied. Secondary observation. I've been analyzing Dooku's communication signatures. He's still monitoring this facility remotely, watching the battle unfold. Chief, I think this entire trap is a test. He wants to see if you're worth recruiting, or if he needs to eliminate you as threat. Then let's give him a show. Chief armed his last 2 thermal detonators, calculated trajectories that accounted for droid positioning and structural integrity, and threw. The detonators sailed through blaster fire, struck load-bearing pillars on opposite sides of the command center, and detonated simultaneously. The ceiling collapsed. Not completely, just strategic sections that brought tons of reinforced duracrete down on droid formations, crushing super battle droids under structural debris, forcing droidekas to divert power from weapons to shields as building materials rained destruction. Chief used the chaos to advance, his armored form moving through the collapse with augmented speed that let him avoid falling debris while closing on isolated droid positions. A super battle droid emerged from dust cloud, wrist blasters tracking. Chief grabbed its arms, twisted until structural points failed, and used the disabled droid as an improvised club to destroy 2 more units. A droideka locked onto him, shields flaring, weapons charging for sustained burst. Chief threw the super battle droid's body at it, timing the impact for the shield cycle window, the improvised projectile punching through weakened barrier and crushing the droideka's tripod supports. Chief, structural integrity is failing, Cortana warned. The whole installation's going to collapse if you keep bringing down support columns. Good, Chief said, fighting toward the sealed blast door where Rex's commandos were placing emergency breaching charges. That's the plan. He reached the door as the final droideka cornered him. Shields at maximum, weapons trained, no cover available, no tricks left. The droid's vocabulator emitted synthesized statement in language Cortana translated, surrender or be destroyed. Chief's response was nonverbal. He sprinted directly at the droideka, shields absorbing initial barrage, closing distance faster than droid programming anticipated. At point-blank range, he grabbed the droid's weapon barrels, superheated metal burning through his armor's glove plating, and ripped them from their mountings. The droideka's shields prevented Chief from striking the chassis, but shields didn't extend to the droid's own weapons. Chief used the torn-off blaster barrels to beat the droideka to death through its own shields, mechanically efficient violence that destroyed the droid's structural integrity until the shield generator failed and the unit collapsed. Behind him, Rex's breaching charges detonated. The blast door exploded outward in controlled demolition that created exit path. Clone commandos poured through, weapons raised, expecting to find Chief's body among droid wreckage. Instead, they found him standing in destroyed command center, surrounded by broken droids, armor scarred and smoking, but intact, shields recharging, combat readiness undiminished. What took you so long? Chief asked. Rex's incredulous laughter echoed through the comm channel. You're insane. Magnificent and insane. He gestured toward the exit. Installations collapsing. We need to extract before. The holographic display activated one final time. Dooku's image appeared, studying the carnage with expression that combined respect and concern. Impressive, Master Chief. You survived a scenario designed to kill Jedi Masters. Fought through odds that would destroy Republic Commando units. Demonstrated tactical creativity, physical prowess, and utter refusal to accept defeat. Dooku's expression became calculating. You would have been valuable ally. Instead, you become problem that requires permanent solution. A pity. But I cannot allow warrior of your capability to serve the Republic. If you won't join me, you cannot be permitted to oppose me. Is that a threat? Chief asked. That's a promise, Dooku replied. The next time we meet, it will be on battlefield where I have no interest in recruitment. Only elimination. The hologram vanished. The installation shook with structural failure that suggested deliberate sabotage beyond natural collapse. Cortana's warning was urgent. Chief, he's triggered the facility's reactor core. This entire installation is going to explode in 90 seconds. Yield equivalent to tactical nuclear detonation. Run. Rex shouted unnecessarily. The strike team sprinted through collapsing corridors, pursued by chain reaction explosions, racing against detonation that would vaporize everything within a kilometer radius. Chief's HUD displayed countdown, 70 seconds, 60, 50, while his enhanced physiology pushed beyond human limits. The LAT gunship waited at emergency extraction point, engines already hot, pilot executing combat takeoff before the strike team fully boarded. Chief grabbed Hardcase, the wounded commando unable to run on damaged leg, and physically threw him through the gunship's open bay door. Rex hauled Jesse aboard. Fives and Echo made impossible leap as the gunship lifted off. The installation exploded behind them, nuclear fire consuming everything. Shockwave catching the LAT and sending it tumbling through atmosphere. The pilot fought for control, auxiliary system screaming, while Cortana rerouted power and Chief's armored hands gripped support struts to prevent commandos from falling through open bay doors. They stabilized at 3,000 meters, smoking and battered but intact. Below, the fifth installation was a crater of molten glass and twisted metal. Above, Republic and Separatist fleets engaged in orbital battle that painted the sky with weapons fire. All commandos sound off, Rex ordered. One by one, the strike team reported in. Wounded, exhausted, but alive. Mission accomplished despite Dooku's trap. For installations destroyed, siege breaking, Republic forces landing in strength across annaxes. Chief watched the battle unfold, calculating the cost. Dozens of clone casualties during landing operations, hundreds more wounded, millions of credits in destroyed equipment. Victory purchased through blood and sacrifice, meaningful only because soldiers had made it so. Chief, Cortana said quietly. Dooku meant what he said. He just escalated from recruitment to assassination. And whoever his master is, they're going to learn about you now. We've made enemies in this war. We were always going to make enemies, Chief replied. At least now we know where they stand. Rex approached, removing his helmet to reveal exhaustion and grim satisfaction. That was the most insane combat operation I've ever participated in. And I've served with General Skywalker for 2 years. He extended his hand. You fought beside us, protected us, earned your place in the 501st. Welcome to the Legion, Master Chief. Officially, Chief clasped the offered hand, understanding what the gesture represented. Acceptance by soldiers who'd tested him in combat and found him worthy. Trust earned through action rather than authority. Brotherhood forged through shared survival. Glad to be here, Chief said simply. The LAT gunship limped toward Republic Star Destroyer, carrying soldiers who'd survived impossible odds, broken an enemy siege, and made choices that would echo through the war. Behind them, annaxes burned. Ahead, new battles waited. And somewhere in the galaxy, Count Dooku reported to his hidden master about the interdimensional warrior who'd refused darkness and chosen the difficult path instead. The Clone Wars continued, but Master Chief was now part of them. 3 weeks after annaxes, the pattern became undeniable. Chief stood in the Jedi Temple's Strategic Operations Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing active battlefronts across the galaxy. 217 engagements, ranging from small unit skirmishes to full fleet actions. Republic forces holding in some sectors, losing in others. The overall strategic situation locked in stalemate that consumed resources and lives without meaningful progress toward victory. But Cortana had found something beneath the surface chaos. Chief, she said, manifesting in holographic form visible only to him. I've analyzed 6 months of battle data. Fleet movements, casualty reports, resource allocations, strategic decisions from both Republic and Separatist command structures. And Chief, it's orchestrated. Both sides are being manipulated to maintain equilibrium. When the Republic gains advantage, the Separatists receive mysterious intelligence that allows counterattack. When Separatists push too hard, Republic forces discover convenient tactical opportunities. Someone's conducting this war like a symphony, keeping both sides engaged without allowing decisive victory. Chief had suspected this since Dooku's warning. Now Cortana had proof. Can you identify who? Not yet. The manipulation is sophisticated. Orders buried in legitimate command chains, intelligence reports that appear organic but contain precisely timed information, resource allocations that seem reasonable until you map the overall pattern. Whoever's doing this has access to both Republic and Separatist leadership. And Chief. She hesitated. I think it might be multiple people. A conspiracy rather than single actor. The Operations Center's main display shifted. Master Yoda entered. His small frame nevertheless commanding absolute attention from the assembled Jedi Knights monitoring galactic warfare. Behind him walked Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker, the Council's senior combat commanders, gathering for strategic assessment that Chief had been included in after Anax's proved his value. Master Chief, Yoda greeted, his ancient eyes studying Chief with intensity that suggested force perception Chief couldn't detect. 3 weeks among us, you have been. 15 combat operations. 0 losses among soldiers fighting beside you. Remarkable this is. Or suspicious. Suspicious. Chief asked carefully. Too successful, your missions are, Mace Windu elaborated. His expression severe as always. Statistical analysis shows clone casualties decrease by 47% when you're attached to operations. Enemy forces suffer disproportionate losses. Strategic objectives achieved with efficiency that exceeds probability models. Either you're the most effective combatant in galactic history, or you're receiving assistance we don't understand. I have 40 years of combat experience, Chief said, and my AI provides tactical advantages your forces don't normally have. Your AI, Windu repeated. Cortana. We've allowed her to operate without full understanding of her capabilities. That was trusting. Perhaps too trusting. Cortana's avatar flickered with what Chief recognized as anger, though she maintained professional silence. The accusation was clear. The Jedi suspected Chief of being Separatist agent or receiving intelligence from unknown sources. Success had bred suspicion rather than confidence. Obi-Wan intervened diplomatically. Master Windu raises legitimate concerns, but perhaps we should focus on results rather than speculation. Master Chief has saved thousands of clone lives. His tactics have broken 3 major Separatist offensives. Whatever his methods, they serve Republic interests. For now, Windu said darkly. But what happens when his interests diverge from ours? When he decides Republic corruption outweighs Separatist threats? He's already demonstrated willingness to challenge Council authority regarding clone rights. Because the Council needed challenging, Skywalker interjected. Chief saw what we'd been ignoring, that we're commanding slave army and calling it necessity. He forced us to acknowledge uncomfortable truth. And now, Yoda said quietly, question remains, where his loyalties truly lie. With Republic he serves? With clones he protects? Or with purposes we cannot see? The question hung in the operations center like a blade. Chief understood the position he occupied. Outsider with mysterious capabilities, soldier without clear allegiance, warrior whose success made him simultaneously valuable and threatening. They needed him but couldn't fully trust him. The equation was familiar from ONI operations, where his effectiveness scared the officers who deployed him. My loyalty, Chief said carefully, is to soldiers who fight beside me, to protecting people who can't protect themselves, to stopping those who use war as tool for hidden agendas. He met Yoda's ancient gaze. If that aligns with Republic interests, we're allies. If it doesn't, we have a problem. Windu's hand moved unconsciously toward his lightsaber. That sounds like a threat. That's a statement of principle. Master Chief, Obi-Wan said, attempting to defuse escalating tension, the Council appreciates your contributions. But we need transparency. Your AI's capabilities, your armor's technology, your knowledge of tactics we've never encountered. These advantages come from somewhere. We need to understand them to trust you fully. Before Chief could respond, Cortana interrupted privately. Chief, incoming priority transmission. It's from Captain Rex, emergency channel. He says her voice carried unusual stress. He says it's about the clones. Something they're not supposed to know. He needs to talk to you immediately, away from Jedi oversight. Chief made instant decision. I have operational matter requiring attention. With your permission. Denied, Windu said flatly. This conversation isn't finished. Actually, Yoda interrupted, finish it we shall. Leave, Master Chief may. Trust earned through deeds, not interrogation. Question him more we will, but not now. Those ancient eyes fixed on Windu. Remember, Master Windu, that fear leads to darkness. Afraid of Master Chief, we should not be. Windu's jaw tightened, but he nodded fractional acceptance of Yoda's authority. Chief left the operations center before the council could reconsider, moving through temple corridors with purpose that deterred conversation. He found Rex in the clone barracks' secure briefing room, the captain's posture radiating tension that Chief recognized as emotional distress rather than physical injury. Chief, Rex said without preamble, I found something. In the clone medical files. Something the Kaminoans hid. Something the Jedi don't know about. He activated a holographic display showing genetic sequences, neural pathways, behavioral programming that Chief's limited medical knowledge couldn't fully interpret. We're not just trained to obey orders. We're programmed, genetically programmed with behavioral inhibitors that activate on specific command phrases. Cortana materialized, analyzing the data instantly. Chief, this is worse than behavioral conditioning. This is biological override. The clones have genetic switches embedded in their neural architecture. Someone gives the right command, and their free will gets overridden completely. They become flesh droids, executing orders without question or resistance. What kind of orders? Chief asked, his voice carefully controlled despite rising anger. Rex's expression behind his helmet suggested horror and betrayal. Any orders? The command protocols are classified above my clearance, stored in Kaminoan secure databases, and duplicated to the Chancellor's office. Palpatine has access to genetic command codes for the entire clone army. 3 million soldiers who can be controlled with the right words. The implications crashed through Chief's tactical assessment like artillery strike. An army with built-in override codes. A chancellor who'd accumulated emergency powers throughout the war. A conflict that seemed orchestrated to maintain equilibrium while consolidating political authority. Dooku's warnings about hidden manipulation suddenly carried terrifying weight. Does the Jedi Council know? Chief asked. I don't think so, Rex said. I found this by accident, cross-referencing medical data after Fives started having dreams about protocols he couldn't remember learning. The Kaminoans buried this deep, encrypted it heavily, clearly didn't want anyone knowing what they'd built into us. His voice carried barely contained fury. We're not just slaves, Chief. We're weapons that can be aimed at anything, including our own commanders. Cortana's analysis appeared in Chief's HUD. Chief, these command protocols are sophisticated. They bypass conscious thought entirely, triggering at neurological level that can't be resisted. If someone activated these codes during combat operations. She trailed off, but Chief understood the implication. The clones could be turned against the Jedi, against the Republic, against anyone the command codes holder chose. Have you told Skywalker? Chief asked. Not yet. Because, Chief, I don't know who to trust. If Palpatine has these codes, if he's been accumulating power throughout the war, if this whole conflict is designed to position him as dictator with genetically programmed army. Rex's hands clenched into fists. What if the Jedi are part of it? What if they know and they're using us anyway? They don't know, Chief said with certainty. I've watched them. They're arrogant and sometimes blind to their own failures, but they're not evil. Yoda genuinely cares about clone welfare. Skywalker treats your lives as precious. If they knew about genetic override codes, they'd be fighting to remove them. Then we need to tell them, Rex said. But carefully. Because if Palpatine discovers we know about the codes, he might activate them preemptively. 3 million clones suddenly turning on Jedi commanders? That's not battle. That's massacre. Chief's tactical mind processed variables, calculated risks, weighed options that all led toward same conclusion. This war was trap closing around everyone involved. Republic and separatists, Jedi and clones. All pieces being maneuvered toward checkmate that served hidden players' agenda. Cortana, Chief said, can you remove the override codes? Disable the genetic switches without killing the clones. Not remotely. The programming is too deeply embedded. I'd need direct access to Kaminoan genetic facilities, the original templates, specialized medical equipment we don't have. And Chief, even if I could do it, removing the codes from 3 million clones would take years. We don't have years. Then we need to do two things simultaneously, Chief decided. First, tell Skywalker and Kenobi. Get the Jedi Council investigating this. Force them to confront what's been done to their army. Second, find out who else knows about these codes and what they're planning to use them for. That's going to paint targets on our backs, Rex warned. We're already targets, Chief replied. Dooku wants me dead. The Council suspects me. And whoever's orchestrating this war knows I'm disrupting their carefully balanced conflict. Being careful won't keep us safe. Taking action might. Rex straightened, soldier accepting dangerous mission because someone had to. All right. I'll arrange secure meeting with General Skywalker. You figure out how to convince the Council without triggering panic that collapses Republic military structure. Simple plan, Cortana observed sarcastically. Usually the best ones are, Chief said. 4 hours later, Chief stood in Skywalker's private quarters with Rex, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. The Jedi he trusted most, the ones who demonstrated genuine concern for clone welfare. The holographic display showed Rex's evidence, genetic sequences, and command protocols that painted horrifying picture of clone armies' true nature. Skywalker's mechanical hand clenched with enough force to dent the Duraplast table. They're slaves with kill switches. That's what the Republic commissioned. That's what the Jedi have been commanding. His voice shook with barely contained rage. How could the Kaminoans do this? How could the Republic approve it? The Kaminoans did what they were paid to do, Obi-Wan said quietly. His usual composure fractured. Create obedient soldiers with genetic loyalty enforcement. The Republic Senate approved the clone army without examining the full specifications because we needed soldiers immediately and couldn't afford delays for ethical review. He looked at Rex with expression, carrying profound regret. We failed you. All of you. We should have investigated, should have questioned, should have demanded transparency. The question now, Chief said, redirecting focus toward actionable intelligence, is who has access to these command codes and what they're planning. Ahsoka studied the genetic data with Force-sensitive intuition Chief couldn't perceive. If these codes exist, if Palpatine has them, why hasn't he used them? What's he waiting for? The right moment, Rex said. Maximum impact. Surprise that prevents resistance. His clone military mind understood tactics, even when applied to horror. You don't trigger genetic override during peacetime when people would investigate. You wait for crisis, for battle conditions where sudden behavioral change could be rationalized as combat stress or enemy interference. Or you wait until you've consolidated enough power that resistance doesn't matter, Chief added. If Palpatine's been accumulating authority throughout this war, if he's positioned himself as indispensable leader, the optimal time to trigger clone override is when he's ready to transition from Chancellor to something else entirely. Dictator, Obi-Wan said, the word tasting like poison. Emperor, absolute ruler backed by army that cannot disobey. He activated secure holocommunication. We need to contact the Council immediately. Master Yoda must know about this. Wait, Skywalker said suddenly. Think about what happens when we tell the Council. Emergency investigation, probably detention of Palpatine for questioning. Senate upheaval that paralyzes Republic leadership, while separatists continue attacking. We could trigger the constitutional crisis that hands Palpatine excuse to declare martial law. Or we could trigger investigation that stops him before he consolidates more power, Chief countered. Doing nothing guarantees whatever he's planning succeeds. Taking action at least gives us chance to prevent it. The room fell silent as everyone processed impossible choice. Act now and risk destabilizing Republic, or wait and risk clone army being weaponized against everyone. Yoda's holographic form appeared before Obi-Wan could complete the communication. The ancient Jedi Master, somehow aware of the meeting despite no one alerting him. Sense disturbance, I did. In the Force, great danger approaching. Show me what you have found. Rex displayed the evidence again, explaining the genetic override codes, the command protocols, the horror of clone armies' true nature. Yoda watched in silence, his expression unreadable, processing information that challenged 1,000 years of Jedi philosophy about protecting the innocent. When Rex finished, Yoda closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them, they carried weight that made ancient beings seem truly old. Foreseen this, I should have. Questioned the clone army's origin, we did not. Too grateful for military solution to separatist threat. Paid the price the clones have for our blindness. He looked directly at Chief. Right, you were Master Chief. Slavery this is. Worse than slavery, biological puppet strings, making soldiers into weapons without will. What do we do? Ahsoka asked. Investigate, we must, Yoda decided. Carefully. Alert Palpatine, we cannot. If guilty he is, warning him triggers disaster. But confirm the codes exist, trace their access, identify who can activate them. Then, he paused. Then difficult choices await. And the clones? Rex asked, his voice carrying every ounce of hope and fear that question contained. What happens to us? Yoda met the clone captain's eyes with absolute sincerity. Free you we will. However long it takes, whatever cost required. The Jedi allowed this evil through negligence. The Jedi will fix it through action. He turned to Chief. Trust us to do this, can you? Chief studied the ancient Jedi Master, weighing words against observed actions, measuring promise against probability of fulfillment. Yoda had supported clone citizenship rights. He'd defended Chief when the Council was suspicious. He'd demonstrated consistent concern for doing what was right rather than what was easy. I can trust you to try, Chief said. Whether you'll succeed is a different question. Honest, Yoda said with slight smile. Good. Honesty we need. Deception we have had enough. His hologram began fading. Investigate, I will, with masters I trust absolutely. Say nothing to Council at large, until proof is certain. Panic we cannot risk. But prepared be. Storm is coming. How we weather it determines galaxy's future. The hologram vanished. The room remained silent as everyone processed what they'd learned and what came next. The Clone Wars had always been trap. Now they understood the mechanism. And Master Chief, the soldier from another galaxy, had become pivotal piece in preventing catastrophe designed to consume entire civilization. Chief, Skywalker said finally, when I asked the Council to assign you to 501st, I thought I was getting tactical advantage. Didn't realize I was getting conspiracy theorist, who'd unravel the war's foundation. I don't theorize, Chief replied. I observe patterns and prepare for worst-case scenarios. In my experience, worst-case scenarios usually happen. Optimist, Ahsoka said dryly. Realist, Chief corrected. Rex stood, soldier accepting the mission despite its impossibility. So we keep fighting the visible war while preparing for the invisible one. Protect the clones from being activated against the Jedi. Stop whoever's orchestrating this conspiracy. And somehow do it all without triggering galactic collapse. Standard Tuesday, Chief said. You really need new sayings, Cortana observed. Outside the temple windows, Coruscant's endless city blazed with light. Trillions of beings unaware their government was trapped closing around everyone. That the soldiers protecting them were weapons aimed at civilization's heart. That war itself was orchestration by hidden hands pursuing unknown purpose. But in that room, a small group had chosen to fight back. A Jedi Knight who bent rules, a Jedi Master who valued wisdom, a Padawan who questioned authority, a clone captain who'd achieved personhood despite programming, an AI who'd crossed dimensions, and a Spartan who'd never learned how to quit. Against galactic conspiracy, political manipulation, and clone army with genetic kill switches, they represented hope. It wasn't much. But Master Chief had saved humanity with less. The real war was just beginning. And this time, he knew who the enemy was. The Force binds all things, they said. Chief wasn't bound by the Force. But standing in the Jedi Temple's meditation chamber 3 months after arriving in this galaxy, watching Coruscant's eternal sunset paint the sky in amber and crimson, he felt bound by something else. Duty, choice, and the stubborn refusal to abandon people who needed protecting. Behind him, Rex and the newly formed Torrent Squad, hand-picked clones who'd proven resistant to their genetic programming, prepared for what Yoda was calling the most important mission in Jedi history. They were going to Kamino, to the cloning facilities, to confront the Kaminoans about the override codes and demand their removal, backed by Republic authority and Jedi determination. It was diplomatic mission and military operation combined, and Chief had been assigned as security specialist because nobody trusted the situation to remain peaceful. Cortana, Chief said quietly, think we can actually pull this off? The AI materialized beside him, her avatar reflecting the sunset's colors. Disable genetic override codes in 3 million clones? Force the Republic to acknowledge slave army status? Prevent Palpatine, or whoever's really pulling strings, from triggering their contingency plans. She paused. Honestly? No. The odds are terrible. But Chief, when have terrible odds ever stopped us? Never, Chief admitted. Skywalker approached, his presence announcing itself through confident stride rather than mystical force warning. Rex says the strike team's ready. Masters Yoda and Windu are waiting in the hangar. This is it. We're committing to the plan. Confronting Kaminoans, investigating Palpatine's connection to clone command codes, and probably starting a constitutional crisis that makes the Clone Wars look simple. Worst-case scenario? Chief asked. Kaminoans refuse cooperation. We're forced to seize the facilities militarily. Palpatine activates override codes as defensive measure. 3 million clones turn on Jedi simultaneously. Republic collapses into civil war, separatists win, and galactic civilization enters dark age that lasts centuries. Skywalker smiled without humor. But I'm an optimist. That's your optimistic assessment. My pessimistic assessment involves Sith Lords, Order 66, and the extinction of the Jedi Order. So yes, constitutional crisis is the optimistic scenario. Chief studied the young Jedi. Arrogant, brilliant, reckless, but genuinely committed to protecting those under his command. Skywalker had fought to get the Council to approve this mission, had personally guaranteed Master Chief's loyalty despite his own uncertainties, had put his reputation and position on the line because clone soldiers deserve freedom. Thank you, Chief said simply. Skywalker blinked. For what? For seeing the clones as people. For fighting for them when the Council was comfortable with status quo. For trusting me when you had every reason not to. The Jedi was quiet for a moment. You know what the Force teaches? That all life is connected. That compassion for others is the light side's foundation. That protecting the innocent is the highest calling. The Jedi forgot those lessons somewhere along the way. We got comfortable, political, started serving power instead of people. He met Chief's eyes. You reminded us what we're supposed to be. A soldier from another galaxy who'd never heard of the Force showed us what it actually means. That's humbling. I didn't do anything special, Chief said. Just treated soldiers like they deserve. Which is apparently revolutionary in this galaxy, Skywalker replied. Come on. Yoda's waiting. And you know how he gets when missions run behind schedule. They descended through the temple together. Jedi Knight and Spartan warrior, representatives of different galaxies and philosophies, but united by commitment to doing what was right even when it was difficult. In the hangar, the strike team assembled. Rex and his resistant clones, Jedi Masters Yoda and Windu representing Council authority, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka providing tactical support, and Chief himself, the outsider who'd become integral to operation that could save or shatter the Republic. Ready? Yoda asked, his small frame containing absolute authority. Chief checked his Mjolnir armor, shield charged, weapons loaded, Cortana integrated and alert. Rex confirmed strike team readiness. The Jedi activated their lightsabers with ceremonial snap hiss that still made Chief's tactical mind calculate threat assessment. Ready, Chief confirmed. The gunships launched toward orbital trajectory, carrying hope and desperation in equal measure. Below, Coruscant continued its endless existence. Billions of beings living, working, loving, fighting, dying, unaware that their future balanced on mission, departing the temple. Above, stars beckoned with promise of answers or annihilation. Cortana spoke privately. Chief, I've been analyzing dimensional signatures, comparing them to the Forerunner artifact that brought us here. I think I understand how to reverse the process. How to get us home. Chief's heart, trained through decades to remain steady in crisis, skipped exactly one beat. When? Not yet. The energy requirements are massive. I'd need to tap into hyperdrive core or similar power source, and even then, success probability is only 63%. But Chief, we could go home. Back to the UNSC, back to Earth, back to the war we were actually supposed to be fighting. The offer hung between them. Home. Familiar territory. The endless struggle against Covenant remnants and Forerunner threats. The battles Chief understood. The enemies whose motivations made sense. He could leave this galaxy's political conspiracies, manufactured soldiers, and mystical force conflicts behind. Return to being UNSC's weapon instead of Republic's conscience. Not yet, Chief said finally. These soldiers need help. This war needs ending. And whoever's orchestrating this conspiracy needs stopping before they trigger disaster we can't fix by leaving. So we're staying, Cortana said, no surprise in her voice. She predicted this answer. How very you? We're finishing the mission, Chief corrected. Same as always. Through the gunship's viewport, Kamino appeared. Ocean world shrouded in storms, home to cloning facilities that had birthed 3 million soldiers for a war they didn't choose. The Republic fleet waited in orbit, star destroyers forming blockade that was protective custody and implied threat combined. And on the planet below, Kaminoans prepared to answer questions about genetic override codes, clone personhood, and crimes dressed as military efficiency. The strike team descended through Kamino's storms, through atmosphere heavy with rain and consequence, toward confrontation that would define the galaxy's future. Chief watched his companions, clone soldiers fighting for freedom from genetic slavery. Jedi Masters confronting their order's failures, warriors committed to protecting innocence even when the cost was everything. He'd been taken from his home at 6 years old, augmented until he was barely human, trained to be a weapon, deployed into wars that should have killed him 100 times. He'd lost comrades, watched civilizations burn, carried impossible burdens, because someone had to, and he was built for it. But standing in that gunship, surrounded by soldiers who'd become brothers despite being manufactured, defending a galaxy that wasn't his own because people deserved protecting regardless of dimensional origin, Master Chief felt something he rarely allowed himself to acknowledge. Purpose. Not the kind imposed by Spartan conditioning or ONI manipulation, but the kind chosen freely, maintained through deliberate commitment, renewed with every battle fought for causes that mattered. The Kaminoan facilities rose from stormy seas ahead, gleaming white architecture, housing secrets and sins in equal measure. The strike team prepared for insertion, weapons ready, resolve hardened, understanding that what happened next would echo across the galaxy for generations. Chief, Rex said over private comm, whatever happens down there, whatever we find, whatever price we pay for clone freedom, thank you. For seeing us as people, for fighting beside us, for refusing to accept that manufactured soldiers are property. You're not property, Chief said. You're warriors, and warriors deserve respect. The gunship descended toward landing platform. Kaminoan officials waited, their elongated forms moving with alien grace, expressions unreadable. Yoda and Windu prepared to lead diplomatic confrontation backed by threat of Jedi Force. Cortana infiltrated facility networks, searching for evidence, building case, preparing revelations that would shatter comfortable lies. And Master Chief, Spartan 2, UNSC legend, warrior from another galaxy, stepped onto Kamino's platform ready to do what he'd always done, fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves, challenge systems built on exploitation, and refused to quit until the mission was complete or he was dead. He'd survived worse odds, faced greater enemies, overcome impossible scenarios through determination and tactical excellence. This galaxy was about to learn what a Spartan could accomplish when fighting for something that mattered. The Clone Wars continued. The conspiracies deepened. The battles raged across 1,000 systems. But in that moment, on that platform, with storm winds howling and purpose crystallized, Master Chief knew with absolute certainty he was exactly where he needed to be, doing exactly what he was made for. And nothing, not Sith Lords, not political conspiracies, not genetic override codes, not dimensional barriers, would stop him from protecting the soldiers who'd become his brothers in arms. The real war was just beginning, and Master Chief had never learned how to lose.